So any second now, it is going to be live. So as we're live, I believe we're live.
Well, that is just fine and dandy.
We're live. I believe we're live.
Oh,
Yeah, and it sounds correct.
and Theo confirms. Well,
Thanks
that
for the echo
is
there, Theo.
just
I did that
fine
on purpose. I was just checking the audio.
Oh,
Yeah, and it sounds correct.
and Theo. So, who wants to give us a recap of the session's previous?
I mean,
Let's see. Last we left off our intrepid heroes. They came to the town called Craggle Rock. We found there was only one nice place, a bar to go to. Most of the people got pretty hammered. Trig's character, Gruce.
mm-hmm.
Oh man, I almost forget. I keep forgetting your name. Sorry, Trig. It's been so long.
I know.
He started talking to the completely gray painted tiefling about where he got his little stuff, his stuff that he puts into the rings to make it all colorful, and it's from a bigger town up the river, and that's currently the only thing that we have planned. That is that Trig wants to go, that Bruce wants to go find that. Other than that, everybody got drunk apart from Grigore.
And Bruce actually, he can drink now to the point where
he can decide if he wants to be drunk or not.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Grace.
Honestly, at this point, we just need to find some sort of magical drink that gets him magically drunk.
It's now a quest for stronger narcotics. But did I miss anything with that?
Magical drunkenness could probably be achieved via the use of either the bestow curse or possibly the gear spells.
But did I leave anything out from that short description?
No, I'd say that was a pretty comprehensive recap. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to specifically add to it. That sounds like a no to me.
That pretty much covers it. Yeah.
So,
nice.
The specific point at which we return to the party is that they are all out in the town. They are the town itself, by the way, is pretty much just a single road town in terms of a main road, which travels along an artificial kind of causeway that goes along this small bay. The vast majority of the town has a view of the open sea, with just a couple of houses going back off away from the seafront and up the gradually inclining hill. You could see the ashen mug over on the far side. And if you look in all directions, you'll see that it is located roughly in the central part of the market district. And looking in the other direction, you'll be able to see a rather quaint-looking selection of houses. You get the impression that the architecture here is a mix of new and old, with most of the architecture being newly set up markets and the like over on one side, with just a handful of older structures that looks as though they may have been small seaside cottages, at least several centuries old, far before the time of the tieflings. Theo would, Grigori specifically, would recognize these smaller dwellings to be elven in nature.
I think I'm probably older than most of the whatever the Tater has built here.
Indeed. Grigori would be able to claim that he is older than 90% of the people and structures within this little settlement of Craggle Rock. I believe the last time we were playing, the party discussed that they wanted to make their way to the head markets, which are across the bay and up the river.
That was the general idea. There was something about interesting alcoholic ingredients and probably other things that people might want to buy for
Indeed.
goodies.
The wonderful
and
thing
stuff.
about the head tiefling markets is that just about anything can be sold there, so long as you're willing to deal with people who very much would not like the authorities to know what they're selling.
So
On the point of alcohol, we should do well not to forget that the tieflings were the makers of the mistake makers.
Indeed.
Wait, they were? Oh.
Here we go again.
Good point.
The mistake makers, if you remember correctly,
I remember.
the main active ingredient was sourced from a giant centipede native to the elemental plane of fire.
Oh, that is well, Trig, you've got another thing on your ingredient list now.
Yep. Excellent. Well remembered. Kiki.
To be honest, that point of the giant centipede, I'm not entirely sure whether or not you guys actually know that in game yet. So, I consider it a freebie.
Fair enough.
Thank you,
But we
Bella.
can always go around there,
Bella
have a
for
look to
that.
see if, because because we never actually got round to working out the meteor blast that I've got, but we do know that that is fueled by Firestone.
That's a question.
Wait,
Between Trig and Ginger, do we know if Bruce has actually experimented using that yet?
we don't. I mean, he may well have done. He's gone up a fair few levels. In fact, there needs to be a whole sort of discussion as to what Bruce has actually been doing this whole time to level up,
Yes.
and whether he's
Yes.
increased in items
I'm
in
being
any way or shape or form, or money. He's definitely the poor cousin at the present moment in the group.
You're a monk. You're not supposed to be rich.
Yes. You literally didn't even collect the bounty for the for the Tree of Doom.
Wait, why not?
I wasn't in the party when you guys went to drop off the goods. Remember?
Oh no, you weren't.
No,
oh, well, I guess
Awkward.
you're owed some.
I know, right? Yeah.
How much was that?
Wasn't that like 7K split?
It was something. It was a fairly decent amount. We can go back and look it up later at some point, but yeah, there's
Or either 4 or 7K, something like that.
yeah.
I have just been told by my friend with whom I live that there is corn on the cob available. So we will be probably taking an early break so I can go grab some.
You guys really like eating late there, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's very good.
It must be a Scottish thing.
See, what I usually do is I wake up somewhere in the realm of between 9 and 11 o'clock, depending on whether or not I'm particularly ahead of schedule with my work. And then I'll have quite a large lunch and then a late evening supper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yes, what is the plan, guys?
Well, before you go off to your corn and cob, why don't you give us a list of things in the town that we might want to look at so we can make a plan?
Like,
Otherwise, we may as well
feeling-
just leave.
I have a feeling
sure.
that apart from the gray, what was it, the gray pub, or what did you call it, the gray drink,
The Ashen Mug.
the ashen mug, I don't think there was much else. There's a port.
There, I'll list the most important features of Craggle Rock in order of importance.
The entrance and the exit.
Currently, the most important and noteworthy aspect about the settlement is the rather large ship that is currently moored in place, taking up the only reasonably large available space within the very small pier space that's here. Next most important thing is the Ashen Mug itself. Beyond that, there is the surrounding market stalls, which are currently closed due to it being late evening. The sun has set, by the way. And then probably the next most important thing beyond that would be the obligatory elven contact / embassy / administration house thing that exists within all reasonably sized settlements.
Ah, excellent.
I mean, we could always visit the embassy and see if Grace wants to murder the oppressors.
I don't know. Grace is currently in the kitchen cutting cheese. Would you like to visit the Elven Embassy and murder the oppressors of the tieflings?
Oh, for crying out!
Oh, that was excellent. Do you want to go and do some genocide? Yeah.
You count me in.
Just so you know that we're streaming. You can find the link to the stream in the Yesrallaw Odyssey channel, and I also just put it in the events chat.
You know what? Given the fact that there is fresh gore on the cob downstairs, I'll be right back.
Oh well.
I'll only be 5 minutes.
Don't worry about it. Yes.
Okay, so Kiki, have you seen Kiki's persuasion roll she's made? Try and draw him from militia. Where did you roll?
Doubt.
It?
Good roll. But who was she persuading?
Yeah, exactly.
Us?
Well, I'll tell you this. I am not going through with that.
Theo the elf is not going through with attacking the elves.
Gamo could be convinced, but at the moment he's more interested in, we've just got back. Let's do something fun.
Yeah.
A combat session then.
No. Well, yes, but not like that.
I imagine that if Gero found out that you still got those fireball gloves, Trig, he might be interested in seeing how they work.
I mean, I still do have the fireball gloves. Obviously, I apparently haven't used them yet. Or if I have, I've used them and still got three whole shots of ammunition for it.
What's the ammunition? Is it Firestones?
It is a Firestone
based
some
machinery.
Sort. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're in the country of Firestone, so you could have bought more.
That's yeah, I know.
You're in the administrative district of Firestones.
Yes, this is what I was saying earlier. Is that we should definitely get some Firestones whilst we're here, if only for trade and making ammunition purposes, if nothing else.
Well, it sounds like probably the best plan in that regard would be maybe investigate the embassy first, see if there's anything interesting there. Then go talk to the boat, maybe see if we can get a lift across the bay. Because it sounds like this other town that Ginger's mentioned is going to have a much bigger market.
I get the feeling you could buy the boat.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a big bazaar there.
But do we need a boat?
No.
Do we need a boat? Of course we need a boat.
No, we need an airship.
To take down the Empire.
We need a ship. We need an airship. We don't need a boat.
I don't know. We could engage in high seas piracy.
Depends on how big the boat is, and how much gunpowder it can carry, and how close Chase is to that gunpowder.
No, Chase goes nowhere near the gunpowder.
Let's just keep the flaming sphere guy away from boat.
That should be doable.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to do something. I don't know if Kiki's going to see what I'm about to do. I'm stealing one of her ciders, and then I'm going to put Ribena in it on.
Does anyone remember what the pun was to do with the town called Theolet?
No.
No. Except that people were just drawing all over Ginger's
Except
map.
that people continuously draw over it, and I have to fix it every time. Apart from that, no.
Not even Ribena.
It's right, okay, it's apple and blackcurrant cordial, and I put it into blackcurrant cider. How is that not just intensifying the flavour?
It's Tesco own brand double concentrate rubbish.
A quadruple concentrate, I'll have you know.
There's a difference.
I appear to have come back to an interesting conversation.
Try it. Taste that.
I have nice drink.
I don't care about your so-called nice drink. Try it.
Nice drink.
Right.
Ugh.
You won't try drink. God damn it.
Yeah, well, you've got nobody to blame but yourself for that one.
Ah, it's pretty good. Oh, right.
I've got strawberry cider and thyme. No,
You need to see
Hey, Theo.
the amazing thing I've
I
done.
can see the horrible thing you've done perfectly fine without tasting it.
Yes, S?
You mentioned that Grigori wants to send a message to his folks, didn't you?
I have not mentioned that.
You mentioned to me yesterday that he's interested in
Better.
sending a message so people know he's alive.
Better.
Taste it. See.
I was just thinking, maybe going to the Elven Embassy would be a good way for you to send that message.
That is a good thing that I
Correct.
did have that on my mind, and after we, it's currently night, evening. I don't know exact. Well, actually, I do know how. Well, Ginger's still gone, but my character Grigora knows how. Oh, you're here. Oh yeah, you were slobbing on the knob. I mean the cob.
Whatever
Yeah, I
does it
think
for
what
you.
you fail to understand is that elves never sleep when there's bureaucracy to do.
Is that true? Ginger.
Elves don't sleep anyway. They just sort of pretend to sleep.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
you're
scheme.
right.
They
I
just
mean,
sit there
as an elf, I
scheming,
should know.
scheming with their eyes closed.
Look,
If
for an elf, nighttime is just the time at
Asleep.
which everybody else is asleep. In other words, it's the ideal time to come up with ways to fuck with their neighbors.
in that regards, I would like to, if that's the case, and everybody is where exactly are we now? Are we did we go find lodging, or are we still in the ashen mug?
Pretty sure we just
Well-
poured out of the pub looking for a place to sleep.
Yes. Orb does have a single room.
Yeah, I remembered him saying that, but well, I would like something bigger, and a bathroom with a nice bath.
I mean,
A
you're an
bathroom.
elf. Surely you have prerogative to kick any tiefling out of their house
Yeah, but why would I do that?
because elf superior to tiefling.
Yes, but they are paying their taxes.
Yes, and you'll just fuel Kiki's war against all of elvenkind.
Be
if you-
quiet, Trig.
Don't worry, Trig. It's not like I didn't already know.
Right. Baking potato. Actually,
Potatoes are baked.
serving baked potato. For some reason, everyone is eating just as we start playing. Perfect timing.
Speak for yourself. I made sure to get my food done an hour before we started.
Yeah, I ate. What is it?
When we were making baked
At least
potato,
3.5 hours ago.
it took hours for it to cook. 'Cause-
S and I ate. We're starving already.
You mean you had lunch?
No, we had dinner.
You had very early dinner.
I'm almost done eating.
7 o'clock is not early for supper.
Really is.
Why have you given such a tiny place?
In any case, where I guess we're currently looking for lodging apart from that one room at the Ashen Mug.
Well,
Yes.
Ginger, would you say that the Elven Embassy in the town is probably the most visible / largest structure?
No.
What is the
Elven
biggest
Embassy-
building?
The biggest building is probably the shipping warehouse.
All right. Second biggest then, something that doesn't look like a warehouse.
Probably the small chapel.
Okay, I think Garo's basically getting a drunken stupid beeline towards the chapel.
All right.
Fair enough.
Anyone going to follow?
It's a relatively small and quaint structure. You get the impression that it's been built out of cut sandstone blocks rather than actual brick.
If he's doing that, I guess I'll follow him because I don't want some random drunkard to go off alone in the night. That drunken random drunkard happening to be one of my party members.
I mean, you're probably being quite wise here. The last time I had a character be allowed to go off on its own when it was completely pissed, it unleashed hell in London and caused a mafia war between vampires and zombies.
How exciting!
I'll tell you about it sometime.
It's certainly better than waking up in an ice bath missing a kidney.
I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Or I don't know, going into
Well,
some.
you say that, Trig, but he ended up with I think 2 or 3 more kidneys than when he started.
Ooh.
Well, that sounds like that sounds like a plus for him.
Yeah.
That
Well,
sounds like pure profit.
yeah, that sounds like profit. Well, at least it's not going into some garrison and then trying to and succeeding in killing the second in command of a city and then blowing up a city.
Oh,
I
yes,
think-
that is true.
I think if we
Speaking of-
really want a proper barter-based economy, we need to trade exclusively in kidneys.
Or other organs. I'd accept hearts.
What
livers.
about souls? Everyone has 2.
Wait, what?
No, everybody. Yeah,
as in on your
everybody has
feet.
at least 2
Uh-huh.
souls. Like elves
There's the
definitely
possible
have 3
exception of
souls.
people like Dai who don't have any legs.
Yeah, well,
Guy has no soul.
and she's probably also ginger, so she definitely has no souls.
No, surprisingly, although she does have the temperament of a ginger, Guy is not ginger.
Ah. Well, she doesn't
Has
sound
the
like
soul
ginger.
of a ginger.
But she's remarkably short. I mean, she sits on a small school stool, or a stool in a cafe, and her legs don't touch the ground.
Oh.
You really
Yeah.
enjoyed that
Trig.
story.
I fucking love that story. It's hilarious. I was fucking blown away when I saw.
She's only short because she's always sitting down.
Well, that's just because she cannot stand up.
Mm-hmm. To be
The only-
insensitive, yeah.
The only picture I've ever seen of Dai is next to Uzulu, and she came to what, like his elbows?
I mean, Uzulu is a fairly tall lad. To be fair, but yes, no,
Yeah.
I've
very
got friends
big
who are as
short.
tall as him, so I at least have some frame of reference. So
Well,
we're stumbling
when
through the
Ginger's
chapel.
back, shall we stumble into the chapel? I mean, is it locked? Is it open?
Well, as you make your way over to the place, you notice that it's grander than most of the buildings here, but considering most of the buildings are single-story, shall we say, well-ventilated bungalows, Basically, this chapel isn't the most impressive holy building you've ever seen.
Is the door locked?
It's well, if you try the door, you will find that it does not open.
Can I use my
Come on, guys.
my
The
multi-purpose
chapel looks
locking
closed.
locking skill?
I mean, I was about to do exactly that. Yes. In fact, he's doing it first.
I was about to say, I've got a spell that opens doors. It's Smite, I believe.
Hang on, you're doing this and you're sober.
Just love the fact that this is a party that doesn't even consider the possibility of knocking.
I don't.
Oh,
want
I was
to be
about
here.
to cast the spell knock, actually.
Go on then.
And to be fair, I mean, Trig did actually knock, just very
hard.
Alright.
He's knocking
Well-
on wood.
Trig,
Mm-hmm.
you punch the door. Are you going to inflict a stunning strike?
No, but what I was going to do was do flurry of blows.
Are you gonna non-lethally punch the door?
You know, so it's a ba 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 bang kind of affair.
Oh, I thought it was a bang, 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 bang.
Sure.
Why not?
No, you'd need 2 turns for that. But anyway,
Surely that's 4 attacks then, not the 1.
so yeah, go ahead and roll 4 attacks with 4 instances of damage, and hope that you don't break the door.
What do you mean, hope we don't break the door? What's the fun of that?
I have a feeling that door is broken.
Well, you unfortunately you intend to go ba 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 bam, but end up going ba crack as your fist goes clean through the wood. Do you continue the 2 punches afterwards?
Once I've cracked through the wood, I think I'm usually sort of pretty happy at that point. Does the door open once that once that happened?
Big
No. The lock is still in place, but if whilst your hand is through the door you fumble around a little, you'll be able to find the wooden latch bar that keeps it closed.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. In that case, we'll do that.
Why are you of all people doing this?
Because it's been ages since I've played, okay, and Bruce is yes.
I'm asking Bruce as Grigore.
I haven't seen you guys. I got carried away. Grins.
Gary's just applauding and laughing at your display.
What's your strength stat again, Bruce?
Bruce's strength is 13.
All right, you're able to. It takes a little bit of effort, but you're able to push the latch bar up and push the door through as a result. And as you open the door, you see a elderly-looking man in what appears to be a nightgown and cap, holding a candle and looking somewhat terrified.
I'm going to grin and go, terribly sorry, don't know my own strength, old chap. Are you open? And then I'm going to offer him my flask as a drink.
The elderly looking man, who, bear in mind, isn't a tiefling, just looks at the drink and then looks up at you and
is it a human?
Just shakes his head. And well, on that point, give me insight checks, everybody.
Insight.
There's relatively low level light here, so unless somebody is producing light or you have dark vision,
I have
advantage.
I have dark vision. Insight, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, okay.
I'll take the 15 on that one.
I'm very insightful at the moment.
So between the four of you, who has dark vision?
I have.
Okay, anybody who doesn't, you can consider this to be with disadvantage. But, Grigori, you are able to tell, despite the fact that this man's nightcap is covering over the tips of his ears, that he is, in fact, of elven descent. You would estimate him to be somewhere in his 5th or 6th century in age.
I can make
So
I-
I'm assuming this is some form of elven chapel, then? And what would be the best way to address someone? Yeah.
Give me either a history or religion check. You
15 is the number of today.
more 15s, okay. Well, you remember back from your studies that as a younger elf that the state religion is worshipping the Feywild, with Titania at its head and Oberon as kind of the second in command of the Pantheon. There are a variety of other smaller entities that all have obscure domains and such, but given that this location is on the coast, you get the impression that there's some kind of link here between the water and some aquatic nature to the Feywild.
Okay, but like, is he a priest? Is he what should I call him?
Well, he appears to be an old man in his sleeping gown right now.
Yeah, in a chapel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what role he is. He hasn't said anything yet.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just gonna say, please excuse my friends here. They really do not know their own strength, especially after having had a few. We do not wish to intrude on you. Apologies for the door.
As he says, do not wish to intrude, Garo's actually just going to walk in and appear to start searching for something.
Garo, please stop doing that.
By the way, are you saying this to him in common or elven?
In elven.
Right, so in that case, he will respond to you also in elven. Why? I was making my way to the door when I heard the knocking, and then his fist went through the door. This is horrible, terrible.
Grace is going to look down at him and say to him, "Worry not, old man. Be not afraid." And he can make a DC 14 Wisdom save to see whether or not he's feared.
I'm sorry, what?
God,
what on earth are you doing?
Are you using the fear?
Whatever effect it is that you're using.
The fear effect of your armor.
Armor of Holy Grace. Of course, you'd name it after her.
Mm-hmm.
This is cringe with capital K.
Well, alrighty then. Let me just quickly roll 20. He manages to meet the dice check. Just barely. You see a look of shock and fear come over him, which he relatively quickly manages to recover from before he addresses you in what is a very distinctly elven / French accent and says, "What are you doing in here? Get out! Come back in the morning. You're not welcome here anymore."
Garrow doesn't appear to be paying attention. He's very busy in his search.
Garrow, what are you doing?
He's checking under the pews. He's opening the books, looking inside them.
I'm gonna try to take it away from him. Garrow, stop doing that.
By the way, the interior of this chapel is very bare. It's, for all intents and purposes, semi-gravel, semi-stone laid ground. The pews seem to be set into the ground, not just like laying on the ground itself, but actually nailed into place somewhat. And you would guess there's only enough room in here for maybe less than 20 people to sit.
Did you say that there were a few shrines to different gods in here?
There seems to be a couple of holy symbols, but there's nothing that you would recognize unless you roll very high on a religion check.
And that religion check is there it is.
Like
Of
that.
course, you would roll very high on a religion check. There is a few there's a fair bit of a symbology here, most of which you wouldn't recognize, but there is one that you do recognize, and that is that in what appears to be a somewhat old and poorly maintained stained glass window, the only such fixture in the entire building, nestled in a round window above the entrance through which you came, there appears to be a symbol of a tree of sorts, the leaves of which curl around into two crescent moons in which there is a starry night sky depicted. A symbol that you would recognize to be that of the Feywild itself.
Is there an empty alcove at all?
No, it appears as though the entire interior of this chapel is a large single room. If you can actually see, if you look carefully, a small bedroll lying on the floor off in the corner that you presume gets packed away whenever services occur. This is a very bare bones kind of scenario. Bear in mind, you get the distinct impression that this is not a place that gets a lot of fun. By the way, if there is actually something that you're actively searching for, Garrow,
Yes.
Well, what is it?
Inquisitors.
I am terribly sorry for this happening, and can I give disadvantage to Garrow in any way? Like,
You want to give me
Well-
disadvantage?
like in a sense of okay. Let me
Go ahead and
explain
make me
this.
an investigation check, Garrow, and go ahead, Theo.
Garrow is sort of drunkenly stumbling. Garrow is sort of drunkenly stumbling through this chapel, and I sort of want to go after him, trying to pull him away, back to outside, constantly apologizing to the poor prior, priest, whatever he may be.
You get the distinct impression that whatever searching Garrow is doing is not being in any way, shape, or form successful.
No,
Total
No.
of 2.
I know.
And Garrow, would you say it's within expectation that he would have checked the same pew at least 4 times by now?
I think so. He wants to be absolutely sure there are no inquisitors in this town. I mean, those guys are always trouble after all, and he wants to make sure his friends are safe.
Yeah, while Gary's making this distraction, I'd like to take one of the smaller shrines that they've got here. One of the, because you said there were like 3 deities here, right?
I didn't mention 3 deities. I just said that there's a variety of pieces of symbology that have been carved into the natural stonework that makes up the walls, and In terms of actual physical objects like statuettes and things of that nature, there's a couple of things on a shelf towards the back of the room. If you go over there, I'll give you more details, but otherwise you can just see that there isn't really a whole lot to be looted from this place.
I'm not talking about looting. I want to leave a couple of long swords and a great sword and sanctify them as a shrine to Mars.
Right, okay. Interesting. Well, so everybody just begins making their way into the chapel then.
Yeah, pretty much looks like it.
Yeah. Garrow's made his way in and looking for inquisitors. Groose is just kind of standing there, presumably still picking splinters out of his knuckles.
Yeah, pretty much having the occasional swig, turning around to the old chap, going, "Are you sure you won't try this? This is good stuff."
I'm terribly
This is
sorry that we're
nice
here.
brandy. I know you like. You go on. You will. You will. You will. You will. You will.
He seems to be very dismissive of you, Groose, and looks to the rest of the party, looks to Grigori and says, "If you don't get them out of here, I will be calling the gods."
I am trying to get them.
I'm going to try to be persuasive and fail.
Did he say that in Common or in Elven?
He said that to you in Elven, but he will then proceed to turn around to Groose and say, "I don't want any of your alcohol. Leave."
Guys, please, there's nothing here.
It's really good.
Leave this man to his night's rest.
I'm gonna approach this priest and say to him, "Well, I'm happy to see that you don't have any inquisitors here, but tell me, who do you serve? Is it the evil demon god king, or is it the arsehole angel?"
What are you talking about? Oh.
The old man just looks at you, Garrow, and says, "Are you on drugs?"
I was gonna do an intimidate and just glare at him and says, "Answer my question, old man."
I'm going to stand behind
back from you
behind Garrow doing drunken signals and with like too much to drink and the old woo, he's a bit etc. in sign the common sign for comedically drunk behind him.
The old man he's unfortunately terrified of Garrow. I'm not even going to roll a wisdom saving throw against that. You've all barged into the place. You've intimidated him now twice. You have rolled a 19 in intimidating him, and now he has decided that his number one priority is survival, and has proceeded to. He is now not screaming, but he is making quietened noises of distress as he has begun running out of the building.
Can I attempt to block his retreat from the building?
I
be
would say
a giant human door, as it were.
Can I before Garrow does that? Can I do this?
On who?
On Garrow.
Right. Garrow, I recommend that you give the description of that a quick read over.
Yeah, I'm just reading it.
Oh, Christ almighty. Why is this happening? Whenever this party needs alcohol, terrible things begin to happen.
You got to consider the fact that Garrow's got some form of PTSD from Trick's campaign.
Yeah.
PTSD and no intelligence to deal with it.
Okay, so what are you actually using the ring to do?
I'm basically insta succeeding what is it?
It's an
intimidation on you. and I basically, the way I do that is I grab you with one hand on your shoulder, and I'm just very sternly saying, Garrow, stop what you're doing here right now. We're going out of this place, and you will be put to bed.
All right, so
Or
This
what
is
is
no way.
he hasn't asked me a question. This ring, if I understand right, it makes me really willing to answer out of fear. Like, what is the effect of this ring in regards to what Theo's doing?
effectively what has happened is Theo has placed his hand on your shoulder. You have turned around to meet his gaze, and for what is likely the first time in Garrow's life, he has looked upon an elf and thought, "Oh shit."
Is he within 10 feet of Grace?
Yes. Yes, he almost certainly would be.
All right, so I'm not frightened. I am intimidated. So is this like I'm just staring at like a black abyss with an elf's glowing eyes glowing out of it, sort of thing?
This would in Garrow's mind likely manifest as, "Oh my god, this creature might actually be male."
I'm just trying to work out if Drunk Garrow's response to this would be a violent response or a oh no, got to calm down. And I'm not actually sure. Given
Well,
that, when he's been startled by CD in the past, he has lashed out.
This is a character that you have never seen to be an aggressive person. You've seen him be very. Garrow has seen Grigori be a very diplomatic kind of person. And this is the first time that Garrow has ever viewed Grigori and gotten an air of urgency and seriousness from him, most likely.
Okay. In which case, I'll say that would probably be sobering.
That's a good description.
So, no, okay. Garrow will listen to him. And after he said his piece, he will look around and realize what he's done and feel a bit sheepish that he's basically turned the place upside down. It's just, I don't know what got into me. I'm sorry there. Must be all this weird tiefling drink we've been having.
We're gonna go out of here. We're gonna find some place to sleep. Tomorrow we will come back and apologize. And hopefully not get caught by guards.
Speaking of, not of guards, but of terrible things. Kiki, what on earth is Grace up to?
I was sanctifying a shrine in here in the name of Mars. I'm going to use a couple of long swords and a great sword as a representation of the war god. And
do you have access to the ceremony spell?
I do.
All right, could you just go ahead and post that into the chat for us? Thank you very much. Right. Given the overall wide scope of the spell, I would say that you can cast the ceremony spell in order to achieve the effect that you are after. But given that this is a location that is already sanctified in the name of another deity, there's going to be a bit of a check that you have to surpass here in order for it to work, and it probably won't even work first time. So this is quite literally going to be a case of you attempting to impose the will of Mars in such an offensive and effective manner that it overpowers all of the previous decades worth of influence poured into this place. To that end, I would say explain to me what you are doing in order to achieve this. There is a relatively small but otherwise mostly plain and bare stone altar at the head of the small, what is effectively a very small hall to this place. Explain to me what you're doing, and I will judge what you need to do, what needs to happen for this to work.
Just a moment.
Okay.
Let's go and talk to the cat. That's because the cat needs feeding.
Sorry, cat has come to me.
I'm gonna go grab something to
Yeah.
snack on.
I'm going to take out my Bible. I'm going to place I'm going to place a sword in the ground, and a second sword, so they're like crossed with a great sword in front of them, upright. I'm going to set an old helmet that I've got in my inventory on there, and I'm going to read out the blessing of Mars, and I'm going to cast ceremony and maybe pour a couple of smites worth of power in there as well.
Okay. In regards to the arrangement of the swords, are you doing a Christian cross?
Give me a moment.
Are you about to post an image?
No. Kind of like, let's have a look what the Christine cross is.
Christian cross, you know.
Oh, Christian cross.
Yeah, the cross, you know? The cross?
Oh, she's
You know what?
pathetic.
Sure. I'm going to do the great sword as the center point and the long swords as either side.
Alright, yep, that works. And you've laid them across the altar, I'm guessing.
I've sat them upright essentially and locked them in place.
All right. Are you binding them into place with some kind of binding, or because they probably won't? You know, this isn't magnets.
Can I weld them with a smite?
You want to weld them?
Ah, you
I'm
can
back.
try.
What did I miss?
Kiki's doing a bit of
Spot
spot welding.
welding.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Kiki's doing a bit of spot welding with swords.
Yes, apparently. I'll let you try and figure out how much power you're going to need in order to spot weld swords together with divine power.
Not enough that she has.
Sorry?
Not enough.
Let's have a look. So I'm going to do some smites then. Let's do... Oh, that's the wrong button. There it is. Let's do a third level smite.
Are you kidding?
And another third level smite. And will that do it?
Absolutely. Each of the third level smites is quite capable of binding two of the swords together via the process of, basically channeling the divine energies between them in such a way to fuse them together. And the end result being that you make a rather intimidating looking divine symbol. And presumably you plunge the great sword through the altar or some dramatic
Absolutely.
features of that nature. All right, then. In that case, I'm going to say, roll me a check of your choice. Something that you personally feel would be most appropriate for what you're trying to do here, as just a kind of overall look value.
This is ridiculous.
Let's go with athletics. Why not? Oh, that's not great.
No, it's not. I'm going to say you do manage to make a dent in the altar, but its stone nature resists the attempt to plunge the sword through the stone.
What if I drive it in with a where is it? With a channel divinity.
I would say... I would say, even with the Channel Divinity, that although that will give you the right amount of precision, it won't give you the necessary force to drive sword through stone.
And Smiter.
That will be what you need. What level smite do you plunge?
It's just an altar. Let's do a level 2.
That'll do it. The rest of you witness as Kiki has finished using her divine powers to forge a cross reminiscent of the world you all have just left. You see as Alistair in the background is looking on from the corner with a great amount of... Well, I was about to say a great amount of emotion, but let's be honest, that's entirely uncharacteristic of him. Let's just put it this way. You all see as a bright flash of light, the likes of which you would expect to see a bolt of lightning, allows Kiki to plunge a great sword with 2 fused long swords into the altar that was once used to give services in the name of Titania, Elven Queen of the Feywild, and in the process thoroughly defiling said holy site, and quite possibly imbuing it with a decent chunk of the influence of Mars.
I mean, based. Goose is going to raise an eyebrow at this and just go, "Wow, you guys have gotten fun. Where have you been? What has happened? Wow."
Most importantly of all, I'm going to ask everybody who is currently in the chapel to give me a perception check.
Right.
A perception.
I am not very perceptive.
What do my elven eyes see?
Well, I would say Kiki and anybody who rolls an 18 or higher are able to see as a wave of almost like a rolling in of storm clouds, except the clouds themselves are faint and have a slight reddish orange tinge to them, seem to billow through the rafters and upper echelons of this building, seemingly tinging everything with just a couple speckles of gold here and there, and otherwise staining it with what looks like maybe the blood spatter or maybe rust somewhere in between. In either case, the end result is that between the naturally darkened woods and the little dashes of gold here and there, the main colours of the god Mars now decorate the interior ceiling of this structure.
Based.
Grace, what in the Feywild's holy name did you just do?
You thought Garrow was bad.
Only what's right. We conquered.
What do you mean you conquered?
Any VC?
Apparently just conquered the chapel.
I will say, Kiki, this is a single ceremony cast by a paladin within a very low importance holy site. Grace will know, just on an instinctual level, that whatever effects have been achieved here can likely be reversed with a relatively similar amount of effort as to what she has just expended to get it this far. If you wanted what you have done here to be any degree permanent, you would need to come back on a regular basis and repeat what you have done. But for now, you are very confident that you have just made a quite possibly permanent mark on this location.
Fantastic. In that case, I'm going to pat my hands together as one does with a job well done, and walk out to meet the others.
Well, I imagine all of the others are still inside the chapel, witnessing what the hell you just did.
Literally everybody was inside.
Yep.
Well, I'll go back and rejoin the group.
I think we were near the doorway, but honestly, I'm actually feeling really bad for this priest guy.
Why?
Grace, you
He
are a
got-
maniac.
You know what? On the way past him as well, I'm going to
Priest's gone.
oh.
He left before you started this.
Wise.
Yep. He when Garo did his intimidation check earlier, he didn't answer Garo's question. He just turned and he ran. And the only thing that stopped Garo from either taking an attack of opportunity or grapple checking the poor cripple was the fact that Grigori gave the old man an opportunity to run for his life.
I wasn't going to kill him. I just wanted to interrogate him, find out.
Yeah,
who
Grace
God he
also
served.
didn't try to kill the priest, but then she trampled over him and stuck his skull on her fucking horse.
I
It
mean,
was an accident.
Yeah,
What?
accident.
I don't have a
Accidents
horse.
happen a lot, apparently.
I just wanted to know if he served one of the evil gods.
Well, apparently now
Or the
this
King of
place is
France.
thanks to Grace.
Perhaps it would be wise for us to skip town tonight.
Maybe. Well, unless anybody else has anything to do inside the chapel, I'm going to presume you will make your way outside.
seems
Since nobody has
reasonable.
just said otherwise.
I'm gonna
As you
disavow
do-
this whole thing. I'm just going to disavow the whole thing and what do you call it?
Ah, yes. Disavow and disappear.
Yes. Good luck.
Well, as the lot of you make your way out of the building, you see the old man apparently hasn't gotten very far. He has definitely been running. You can you can tell that much, but he's, I don't know, maybe 60 feet down the road, which is nowhere near as much distance as what you would have thought. But he is moving with some degree of pace in the opposite direction towards where you are.
I would like to approach him, but not in an intimidating fashion.
He is already some decent distance away, so if by approach him you mean sprint after him for maybe 20 or so seconds, then yes, you'll be able to get close to him. But
I mean,
otherwise,
how
you'd probably be
what's-
better off shouting.
What's your movement speed, Garo?
I believe my base movement speed is 40. Yes, it is.
So yeah, you and I could probably run after him and catch him up fairly rapidly. I've got a speed of 50.
Yeah, I want to basically diplomacy
Yeah.
my way out of this and apologise to him.
I think we should definitely
At
run
least,
over there.
at least to get him to not call the guards on us. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do when he sees what Grace has done. Unless you can convince him to join her religion, I guess.
Well,
But,
just so that you guys know, this is an old man whose current movement speed is 20 feet per turn.
Is that with or without dashing?
That's without dashing. You
So
get
Bruce
the
could catch him up
impression-
in 6 seconds.
Well, he's had a half decent head start. As I say, he's about 60 feet down the road.
Yeah, Bruce could do 100
yeah,
and he
I
could
can
do
get there
40.
in less than 6 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah, I suppose that's how that math works, isn't it?
yeah.
All right. So,
Shall
what
we?
are you guys doing to terrorize this old man further?
Well, first, I'm going to exchange a glance with Bruce and hope he gets my meaning that we need to go apologise to this guy and maybe diplomacy our way out of it.
I'm gonna
And then
nod
I'm
and
just
go,
gonna-
yeah, race you, and boom, I'm off.
Yeah, pretty much a power walk run over to him.
Yep.
I mean, We could crucify him on the altar.
No, let's not crucify him on the altar just
Let's
yet.
not do that.
Just yet.
Ah!
There's always time.
Since you're going to get there before me, you can start off.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to basically sort of try to get round in front of him and put both hands on his shoulders and go, no, sir. It is a terrible mistake. I apologize for my friends. We were just engaging. I haven't seen them in ages. We got a little bit drunk. And here. Honestly, seriously, try some of this. You'll feel a lot better. And I basically sort of start pouring the brandy into his face.
He spits, he splutters, and he cries out, "Help! Marauders!"
Are you waterboarding him with alcohol?
With brandy, essentially a little bit. I mean, not in a particularly malicious manner. Sir, no, it's okay. You don't need to be afraid of us. We're fine. It's just a little drunken revelry.
Continues screaming. He continues shouting, and I would say about 6 or so seconds later, and another turn's worth, just long enough for Garrow to be able to get close enough. You start seeing the distinctive light of candles being lit in various windows.
Right. As I get there, I would like to I see what Goose is doing, and don't think it's the best way coming down. I'm going to cast this on the priest. Did that work? No, it didn't.
I'm expecting Thunderwave.
No, I'm going to make him immune to fear.
Ah, nice move.
A willing creature. This man is not.
Where can I find popcorn and in the middle of the night?
Unfortunately, Garrow, this man has absolutely zero beliefs in your good intentions. For reasons that I would hope are obvious. And
I mean, I did have a bit of a spiel lined up for what to try on him, but now that he's being waterboarded by Goose, I'm not sure if it'll work.
Oh, were you trying to waterboard him as well?
It's not waterboarding, it's brandy boarding, and it's far nicer. You just partake, he would enjoy it.
Well, I'll put it this way. The old man, between sputterings and perpetual resistance, yes, this is the party I would like you to join. But between all attempts at resisting whatever it is that you're trying to force down his throat, he trust me, man, you can't do any worse than what they are already.
Hey, leave me out of this. Leave me out of this.
Every time he's able to get a word out, he is actively calling for help. As far as this man is concerned, his life is in imminent danger in your presence.
Leave you out of this. You burn down a whole town.
Goose, perhaps I don't think he's keen on the drink. Perhaps let me try something.
I mean, okay, feel free to try away. I mean, anyone that doesn't like drink is not worth my time, to be honest. I mean, I could try stunning him, and we could start again after he's woken up.
Let's leave that as Plan B. Good sir, look, I humbly apologize. You have to understand. We've been through trials and tribulations, and the war we've been through, it has scarred us deeply. I'd like to offer you anything we can do to make it up to you. We'll fix your chapel up, and I would happily give a generous donation to who was it you served again?
Important question.
Gary's looking incredibly like humble, and earnest in everything he's saying.
Maybe he could be on his
okay. Well,
forgiveness.
I have an important question. Are either of you currently holding on to him?
Yes, I got both hands on one. Well, I'd got one hand on his shoulder at this. The other one with.
Okay, in that case, roll an athletics check. He's going to attempt to break from your grasp.
an athletics check.
Mhm.
I can't
That's
turn
not
that.
gonna be a difficult
I was going
one.
to say I can't turn this into acrobatics by any chance.
No, because he is attempting to break out of it.
Oh dear, here goes the stunning strike.
Well, he manages to wrest free from your grasp for a moment, and as you are pouring your heart out to the man, give me a persuasion check there, Gara.
Persuasion. Oof.
Okay. In order to land a stunning strike, you're going to have to actually make an attack on it.
It is a very, very non-lethal, just a quick tap on the shoulder as such. Does 24 hits?
Yes.
Is this non-lethal by chance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a Vulcan knockout sort of tier sort of stuff. Gentle, a gentle knockout punch.
Well, let me just slash R 1d20 plus 2.
Good
My
God, he beat the Constitution saving throw.
He just about manages to beat the Constitution saving throw by 3.
It's okay. You have enough
And,
key points. You can try it 4 times in 1 round.
At this rate, you're going to knock him out
Oh,
from
God, that's true.
hit points.
I'm going to kill him.
You get to make
Just
another.
say they're all non-lethal. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just. Okay, I'm down to.
You manage to land one good punch on the back of his shoulder, and you dump key into him in an attempt to stun him, and he seemingly has the necessary spiritual constitution to be able to resist the effect.
God, he's doing himself more harm by resisting.
You then go for another punch.
Yes.
And as the second punch lands, you see he continues. He's not down, but oh God, is he flagging? Do you attempt another stunning strike?
Of course I'm going to do another stunning strike. I can't not at this point. I'm kind of
please
committed.
stop! You're killing the man.
No, I'm not. He'll be fine. He'll just wake up with a headache.
He certainly doesn't resist that one as the second fist connects again with another pressure point on the back of his shoulder. You see that it's almost like witnessing a puppet whose puppeteer has suddenly let go of all the strings. Just crumples into a heap on the ground.
Lord Chris, what have you done to the poor man?
It's all right. He's not going to be making noise anymore. We can convince him now. He'll be fine.
You see,
I don't think you can convince a dead man.
You hear a few groans of, and you think
that's just gas escaping from the corpse.
You think you might see just a little bit of dribble coming out of come out the corner of his mouth.
Quick, here, give him some brandy. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Just give. I'm gonna pour some brandy in his mouth that I'm assuming is lolling open at this point.
He's unconscious. You've got to massage the throat to force it to gulp.
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
Medicine check.
A medicine check. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm good at medicine checks.
I'm gonna help if he needs help.
Okay.
I have strong medicine.
You are able to force the barely conscious man to drink how much brandy?
All of it.
Enough to leave him pretty freaking inebriated.
How many pints? Because this is your magic flask.
It's brandy, so I think a half a pint of brandy is probably enough to leave him. Oh, he's an elf, isn't he? Elves, Right, which elves are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with elves that get really pissed really quickly, or are we dealing with elves that can drink for England?
One with the constitution of +2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
elves in my setting, they aren't known for being any better at drinking than humans. There are some elves who follow certain traditions of either military like mindedness, or perhaps certain spiritualistic arts that give them the ability to resist certain effects, but this man is neither of those. You can consider basically what's happened here, Triggers. You've taken an old man who you would imagine, if this were translated into human years, probably had less than a decade left in his life, and you have force-fed him a lot of brandy.
Excellent.
After punching him in the back
causing him a
twice.
heart attack.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with this.
Okay.
I mean,
Just
right.
so that you're aware of the consequences of the full and unadulterated implications as to what is happening here. This is a man who is having possibly the worst night of his life right now.
Sure.
I would argue he's about to have the best night of his life, because he's given all the brandy.
The thing is, we can now cast aspersions as to what he's saying because he's clearly some pissed aboard fart.
Yeah. No, if he wakes up in a ransacked chapel, I mean, smelling of brandy, I mean...
Exactly.
His old war friends came round. You know, he got a bit too excited. You know how it is.
I do indeed.
Do we have any means of like copying books quickly?
No.
Like,
No. In order to effectively and quickly copy a book, you would either need some kind of special artifact or possibly a high-level caster with the ability to cast the spell Fabricate. And unfortunately for your party, neither of those are currently available.
I mean, you could ask Garrow if he knows how to do that.
Sure. Garrow, do you know how to make books quickly? I mean, it would be good if we leave him a copy of the good book.
Make books quickly up. I mean, I know how to transfer images from a book to another surface. Would that work?
You know what? That will. I'll bring up some poignant bits of scripture for Garrow to transfer.
So when I assume we're going back to the chapel with this guy. Yes.
Yes, we'll carry him back to the chapel in his drunken stupor. So can't take his booze.
I'd like someone to roll 2d6.
What's this pertaining to?
We'll find out when it rolls.
Oh dear, have we just killed him?
All right.
No, I think it's the amount of guards.
Approximately 9 people. If you bother to count, it's exactly 9 people come out from various houses, carrying lanterns, candles, etc., sources of light. One of them appears to be carrying a very familiar source of light, specifically the light cantrip that appears to be attached to the end of a large stick. And they've all seemingly come out to find out what the commotion is. And they all just...
Bless you.
Bless you.
But they all step out. They see a bunch of strangers carrying the old man who runs the local chapel, who is clearly barely clinging on to consciousness. And one of them, well, first of all, none of them actually approach you immediately. They all kind of surround you, if you will. A kind of distant corralling. You can tell that they are showing a lot of caution towards what they have been, what they have heard their elderly friend actively call out as marauders. And you see the one who's carrying the light on the end of a stick calls out to you. This is a tiefling, by the way. And he says, "What are you doing with the old man?"
He's had a little too much to drink. He got a little overexcited. We're taking him back to the chapel. Can't seem to take his brandy very well and got a little bit disorientated. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Roll a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Okay, a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Might I add? Oh, never
Excellent.
mind. It would have made a difference.
Yes. I am lousy at persuasion.
If any of them get within 10 feet of us, by the way, I'd like them to make a wisdom save.
No, they're keeping the distance.
Kiki, you're not there.
I'll call out and say, "Oh yes, sorry about this. But, we are his old traveling companions. The Merlin's Marauders. We used to go round everywhere, spreading the good word and helping during the war. And we were just trying to catch up with our old friend after these many years and many hard travels. And as my good friend said, he got a bit too excited, reliving the old days. And I'd like to add to that with a performance roll, if I may.
Go for it. You do see a couple of people begin to whisper to each other, and you get the impression that there's a bit of a chain of communication happening.
Ooh, can I add to that performance?
Anybody who wants to can. No.
Okay, it's a good job, Ren.
It's a 25. I mean, it's a good performance.
It is. It is.
It's my first ever good roll of performance.
If only it was with advantage.
Anybody with a half decent passive perception will be able to hear that there is definitely some whispering taking place between various members of this crowd that have come out to confront you. And after a couple of seconds of the apparent deliberation, the one with the light on the end of the stick, who you can only assume is some kind of spellcaster, calls out to your party as a whole, not addressing anyone in particular. "Leave him on the floor and leave, and we won't pursue you."
But he's really, really drunk. He probably should need to.
And we'll deal with him.
Oh, okay.
Leave.
How many are there? 9. You reckon we can...
We're not going to leave an old friend in the dirt and while he's drunk.
Kiki, you're not there.
What?
Oh,
You
no.
know?
The whole at this point, the party is only currently the party is currently divided into two halves. There's Garrow and there is Groose, who are next to the old man, who've carried him back a little bit before being confronted by this group, and then there's Grigori and Grace, who are only maybe about 30 feet away.
It's been plenty of time. We started at 60 feet away. I'm pretty sure we've walked more than 3 seconds worth of distance.
If Grace and Grigori want to, they can be reunited with Garrow and Bruce.
I am not intervening in this whatsoever.
So you're remaining invisible and out of sight then.
Oh yeah.
Roll me a stealth check. This would be with advantage since you're currently not able to be seen. That's a 28.
Does he get the benefits of his camouflage cloak?
The one that nobody can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how camouflaged it is.
Well, unfortunately, nobody can see the camouflage, so no.
Plus, that wouldn't work. That cloak doesn't work in urban environments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
you don't know. Maybe
in either
there's a
case-
park and I can hide in a shrubbery.
In either case, your party has been given an ultimatum. Put the old man on the ground and leave, or face consequences, which are currently ambiguous and unspoken.
Okay, you know what?
How was the
I'm just going
pilot?
to immediately put my hands up in the air and let go of him and let him drop to the ground and go, "It's okay, guys. We were just trying to look." Oh no! And as he sort of falls and
Can I try and catch the guy as he falls and set him down gently?
Sure. Go ahead and make
Is that
I would say
athletics?
either a athletics or a dexterity saving throw. Yeah, you're able to catch him, and you see everybody would see as Groose lets the old man go, and Garrow goes to catch him. That suddenly raises the tension in the rest of the crowd a whole lot, and a few people step forward as if the very first step in a mad sprint. But when they go to see Garrow catch him, that immediately settles things again. But there were a few gasps.
I hiss at Grooslop. What are you doing?
I'm doing what they asked.
And then
He
I
said,
call
put
over
him
to
down, and what do you people want? Seriously, I'm asking you this. You say put him down, I let him go, and you all go, oh, hiss, ooh, at me. And what are you people? Is it opposite day? Is it do the opposite of what you say day? I ask you this. Do you want me to let him go, or do you want me to... I said I wanted to take him back because he's drunk and he needs care. You were like, oh, we're going to hurt you if you don't do what we say, so I do as you say, and you get all hissy about it? Screw you guys, I'm out of here. And I'm going to have Francois just generally throw an insult at them as well. Ah, you stupid, demon-looking snotbags. And he's going to say it in Elvish.
Right,
They don't understand
French.
that, do they?
Yes, he's going to speak French at them in extremely condescending manner. Stupid, evil-looking demon people.
Okay. Do
see-
these even understand Elvish?
Who?
You can see that there is equal parts relief, confusion, and defense in the crowd, who, by the way, is currently about 50-50 tieflings and elves.
Excellent.
I call that to Grace, who I assume is not too far away from us now. Would that be right?
I mean, I'd assumed I would have been able to catch up within a turn. I mean, it wasn't that far away.
Yeah.
Well, as you're walking over to rejoin us, I'll just call out for you. Grace, do you have any like healing magic you could do for the poor chap? You know, show everyone we are acting in good faith.
The one with the light calls out again. But by the way, during that whole tirade, Goose, the whole crowd was just silent, apart from a few whispers. Nobody tried to stop you from that tirade. They were just hoping that you wouldn't try to kill the old man, presumably.
I have no interest in killing the old man. I'm trying to help the old man. He was drunk and disorderly, and we decided to help him.
They don't believe that.
That's their problem.
I'm going to wander up to this guy and put a hand on him and lift him up into like a stable position. And how much damage has he taken? Like, how much lay on hands would I have to put in to put him up to full health?
Well, you, upon basically cradling him in your arms, if you go ahead and roll me a medicine check. There doesn't appear to be any obvious lacerations apart from a point where he has obviously taken a bit of a scrape as he kind of did a running dive into the floor thanks to the
Well,
strike.
I've only got a +2, but that's a 19 on the die.
It is. Taking off your gauntlet for a moment in order to be able to have more feel in the hand, you're able to tell that there's a pair of rather large, very obvious cases of blunt force trauma applied to his back. You get the impression that it's something that he would recover from in time, but it would likely be sore for months, possibly years, given the man's age.
Is there Is there anything else I can heal on him that he might have been suffering from for a while that I can do to make him feel better than when he started?
He's got some rather nasty dandruff. Aside from that, he seems to be in somewhat good health for an old man.
Well, you know what? I'm going to pump in 25 points of lay on hands and top him up, deal with any kind of diseases or anything that he's been suffering with. I am, however, going to leave him absolutely wasted.
That's fair. That's fair. You could feel that the 5 hit points that you dump into him via the curing of
25.
disease. Well, it takes 5 hit points in order to cure a disease on a creature.
Yeah.
So 5 points of those are used in curing a disease, and you can feel that does actually find some ailments to cure. It's you can't quite tell what, but you can definitely tell it latched onto and purified something in the body. In terms of healing, though, all but one of the hit points was used in restoring his hit points, and in the process, you can see you're able to feel the large lumps on his back recede, and you actually feel one of the bones in his shoulder blade seemingly relocates.
I'll do the whole thing while reciting verses from the good book.
Yeah, you definitely get a few confused looks, but you can see that certain aspects of the crowd are holding back others, and you also are just about able to catch some people stating how, no, she's healing. Don't. And after a moment, if the pair of you settle the old man on the ground, you see as you go to begin healing him, the man with the light on the stick, by the way, he has started making his way towards your party in what appears to be a non-threatening manner. This
Is it a tiefling or was it an elf?
He's a tiefling. As the tiefling approaches, he looks down at the old man and has a look of pain on his face. You can tell that he's quite sad for whatever you can presume to be a friend has gone through. It's upsetting. But he looks to you, Kiki, and Grace, and he says, "Thank you for helping him. I don't know what's happened, but I can see that there's some good in you and your friends. As per our agreement, you hand him over to me, and you have my word. What has happened tonight will remain here. We won't pursue you or have anything reported."
The grace of the one true God be upon him. And I'll hand him over.
He seemingly nods at that, but with a degree of confusion. The impression that he may not be entirely sure what you're talking about, but appreciates the sentiment. And he, with a degree of effort, you can tell that this individual is not as physically able as yourself. As he picks up the old priest man, whatever religious symbolism this man might hold. He turns around and begins walking away. The rest of the party of people the rest of the concerned citizens, shall we say, seemingly having their raised heckles no longer so raised, also turn and no longer look anywhere near as imposing or intention, or the rest of the crowd look like they no longer intend you harm. The standoffish nature has receded. And it is nighttime. You have defiled a church. You have beaten up an old man. And somehow gotten away with it.
Once again.
So, next up.
Well, I think we probably need to tidy up the mess at the church. What do you guys say?
I mean, no, I'm going to put this all on him. If we start going around there fixing up that church, I mean, what's that going to say? What are we going to fix up? You just got to. I mean, surely we're just better off. I don't know, going and stealing a boat and getting the hell out of here.
By the way, in the 30 or so seconds it's taken the party to make their way away from this almost altercation, you can see that the crowd has mostly receded now. There's only 2 other citizens still out and about, seemingly there to just keep an eye on the fact that you guys are still standing around, even if you have cleared off a little. But the rest of the crowd have seemingly filtered away into their various structures and out of sight.
Oh, come now, Goose. I don't think they're going to believe the old man put a fist through the door.
I mean, they're more likely to believe that than he made a giant burning, cross that's been welded together through the altar. I just think we're better off just not being here, dude. I mean, it was fun and all.
Perhaps
and it's a
at
good
the
giggle.
very least, we should leave a sorry note.
No.
We don't run from just actions.
I'm not running. I'm just saying we've done all we can do here, and clearly we should go and bring the enlightenment of, what was it you said, the one true God, to somewhere else. They've clearly had had plenty of that for this evening here. There are other people who we could bring the good news to, surely.
You make a good point. We should get a boat.
See, that's what I was saying. I saw one in the harbour. I don't know if there's anyone on it at the moment.
Well, I guess when you put it that way, it's probably better to not hang around. Right, where was this boat? Perhaps on the way we'll find our wayward elf. Did you see how angry he was, by the way, Goose? I've never seen him pissed off in his life. Not even when he lost his dagger to the weird angel guy.
He lost his dagger to the weird angel guy? Wait, you guys
Oh,
really...
yeah, there was this guy with like 100 eyes, he came out of the sky, I shook his hand, actually, yeah. Had firm grip. They're electrifying, though. You could feel it all over the body, but yeah, no, I don't think Grigori was his best friend.
Lovely people. Michael and Justin, if I recall.
You're really going to have to tell me all about what has happened to you guys. I mean, I've got my own stories, but damn, it's angel guy with 100 eyes. What? Justin and Michael. Okay, cool.
Oh, that's nothing. Our friend Seedy, if you remember him, he blew up half the town just cause.
Blew up half a town just because. I mean, he always was a bit. I mean, I'm gonna need details. I mean, let's head off to this market thing that the guy at the nice pub that was very grey was talking about, so we can get some stuff tomorrow, and so on, because I don't know, reasons.
By the way, the large ship that you guys are talking about is visible from just about anywhere within the main seafront pier, and is it's a relatively large ship. You would guess that it's crewed by approximately 20 to 30 people. It has 2 masts, one of which carries a significantly larger sail than the other, you would imagine. given by the height of the masts. And looks like it's kind of on the cusp of being ocean going.
Well, is our plan to commandeer it or ask for lodging?
I mean, yes. Commandeer it. Rent some room on it. Rent some room on it. Buy it. I don't know. What do you fancy?
Let's play it by ear. I think
we go and see how many there are on it, etc. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we quite have enough people to take to the high seas and become pirates on a stolen boat. Just, we might need, a couple more to join us for that. Maybe some willing hands, but we might be able to book passage on it, and certainly be out of the way when said drunken priest wakes up with a hangover and works out what the hell's happened and screams at the sight of his altar being desecrated with a giant sword sculpture thing. By the way, Grace, that was quite impressive.
Isn't that not what religious people like?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I was tried to be religious once. It didn't stick. They kicked me out, as you know.
Roll me a religion check there, Trick.
A religion check. Go on then. Have a 16.
Yeah. I would say from that, Bruce knows just enough about religion to know that typically the kind of thing that Grace has done here is very uncommon. He's personally never heard of any instances of a person of one faith attempting to basically commandeer the holy site of another god's faith.
Oh, it's actually that's uncommon.
It's not particularly common in Yesrallaw.
It's usually a declaration of war of some sort.
Or a declaration of victory.
Yeah, this is something that will likely be Bruce will know enough about this to know that what Grace has done tonight, if properly investigated, this could very well be the spark of something very bad.
Very bad for us personally, or at large?
Very bad for just about everybody on the continent. If it gets far enough and enough people decide that they want to turn this into a major political incident, this could very well be the basis for starting Yesrallaw's World War.
Are the tieflings an analogy to the Middle East?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Because so they're basically culturally Arabic.
Culturally Arabic pre-Muslim, yes.
So yeah, that culture, at least on our planet, often does occupy religious structures and turn them into their own.
Yes.
That's a very old practice. So I don't know if the tieflings do it, but
the tieflings typically don't, because they're still renting this land. What vestiges of elven culture exist here are not actively supported by Nador and Maya, and instead are they're basically kind of left to fend for themselves in the hopes that it's basically just this land is owned by the tieflings until they fail to pay the rent. If you choose to live here, feel free to do so. If you choose to move into the still elven controlled lands, again, feel free to do so. The elves that are here by choice.
see.
Think of them as expats.
I prefer to think of them as elves.
Why not both?
Anyway, shall we board the ship and find where it's docked and see if we can board it?
Sure, why not? Sounds like a good
I'm
idea.
assuming we've got Gru, Scarrow, and Grace. Do we have anyone else with us?
Grigori is currently MIA, and you know what? I'm gonna call.
there.
I'm gonna call a quick 5-minute break. Nostradamus, feel free to ask questions of the party in my absence.
Okay.
righto.
Yeah, dude. We are. Most of the characters are. Yeah, we're about level 10. Right.
Oh, good. I can actually level him up to where he was before he was down leveled for another campaign.
So yeah,
Excellent.
we're fairly potentially handy characters when we're not pissed up, marauding through a town
from
and
listening
desecrating
in,
churches.
There's already a monk here, though, isn't there?
I am a drunken monk character.
Ah.
Yes.
That church was
Except you're never
worshipping-
drunk. You're the only sober person here.
I'm a drunken monk that is immune to poison now. So yeah.
That church was previously worshipping the wrong god. I've, in essence, undesecrated it.
I mean that is subject to interpretation, but I see where you're coming from. Yes.
Is Titania like the elven Red Queen thing?
No.
No, she's a meme artist created by a comedian in England, but also the Queen of the Fae. She's Oberon's wife. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean in Ginger's setting.
Ginger's setting is using
No.
Oberon and Titania. I'm assuming Puck is lurking around telling everybody about what they're doing as well.
No, I believe he's looking around going, "Now."
S. Red Queen is somebody different.
Yes, the Red
Ah.
Queen is actually the queen of the elves because they
Oh.
like being ruled over by women because that's the way French people rock.
Well, I mean, can you tell the difference?
I mean, yeah, they have slightly less facial hair. But only
It's a
slightly.
shame. It would have been hilarious if they had an altar to the Red Queen and we desecrated that. That would have definitely been an international incident.
I mean, you desecrated a Fae deity. Did some I mean,
I didn't.
if the Fae are actually watching this, there's some danger in that. Just right there.
All I did was make sure there were no evil inquisitors in the church.
Oh yeah, but there wasn't going to be. And why are the
No.
How can you be sure?
why are the Inquisitors evil all of a sudden? The last time you encountered them, they were helping you.
Also, you say you've done
Because
nothing.
he
but look
got
for the-
really drunk and he's not forgotten the whole wheel incident.
You say you've done nothing, but look for the Inquisitors. You made the perfect distraction.
You did. And I just knocked on the door of a church. How is it that I am suddenly it's my fault that the elves can't do woodcraft very well?
I mean, to be fair, all you did is you invented the letterbox.
I just knocked on the door and it just sort of broke in my hands.
Yeah.
Flimsy elven woodwork. Just quite frankly disappointed.
Are you doing this on purpose?
Theo, I don't know if you know this is always how Goose has been played. But yeah, no, I think Garrow's basically suffering quite a bit because he thinks that Inquisitors and bishops, well, maybe not the bishop was alright, but Inquisitors in general are just as bad as Demon Kings, and he really is not in a good place when it comes to Demon Kings.
I mean, yeah, the Inquisitors were not nice people. They were going around sticking people on pikes and breaking them on the wheel and stuff, yes. But they had good reason to. They were desperately
Yeah, they never told him that.
They were desperately trying to keep a demon incursion out, and that is, well, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but
Mhm.
as far as Garrow's concerned, the Inquisitors are just as bad as the demons.
See.
They both tortured, maimed, and dismembered people for
Well,
very nebulous reasons.
yeah,
In fact,
but
at least
there
the
were,
demons were doing it because they enjoyed it.
I mean, the Inquisitors enjoy it too. I mean, they were only peasants. It's not like they were important people.
Yeah, but Garrow's a peasant.
No. Garrow's a level 10 character. He is far above your average peasant.
Welcome back, Ginge.
You know what I mean. Like, he comes from humble origins.
He considers himself a man of the people, does he?
Yeah, he came from the sort of the Earth people. He became a gentleman, and now he feels it is like his duty to help those less fortunate.
By taking like a decade off of their life.
Intimidating them whenever possible.
So he was really drunk, and he was sure there were inquisitors there, and the guy wasn't telling him which god he served. If he just said which god he served, it would have been nice and over very
If
quickly.
he just said he wasn't Jewish, then he would have been left alone.
When I hear
You know what? You're not far wrong about that.
He doesn't
did you
worship
say,
any
Jim?
gods.
What? He's what sort of
what?
priest is he?
He's an atheist priest.
No, he's not of the Church of England.
The Elven pantheon is entirely separately structured to the traditional Yesrallaw pantheon. There's only one god in the Elven pantheon, and that is Titania. All other worshipable entities are best considered to be entities of power, but not at the level of gods.
Sort of
Likes
like
of,
the saints of the Catholics.
So by asking him, what god do you worship? Is kind of like it'd be kind of like asking a Buddhist, what saint do you worship? It's
Would
just not a
we have
concept
had
within that
any
religion.
prior knowledge of this? Is this common knowledge?
Not outside of the elves, no.
Okay, well, that clears out completely then. It was Theo's fault. He
Yeah.
should have told us.
I agree. This is all Theo's fault, definitely. Can confirm. Always blame the elf when you can. Especially when he's
Unless
hiding
the
in
druid,
it.
yeah.
Especially when he's hiding and you can't see him.
Yeah.
I'll pick up a
But
rock.
I was
and
saying, that's the
stuff
druid
at
because the
them.
druid probably just set the whole thing on fire. But anyway, boat?
Boat.
So do bear in mind at this point, it's pretty close to midnight.
What,
Yeah,
is
but
it,
if
is it
if
like?
the boat is
it-
a merchant boat, they're going to have guards.
Would you
all the
say?
time.
Would you say it's like 3 minutes to midnight?
No, more like 2 minutes 59.
Heavy metal music plays in the background.
God.
Iron Maiden intensifies.
We're
Indeed.
nowhere near World War II bombers.
So, you guys
mean,
make your way in the
it could be
direction of the
changed.
boat, do you?
Yes, boat.
Just so that you know, doing so will mean that you're technically walking further into the town and will be doing so past the 2 villagers that have stayed out to, make sure you stick to your side of the bargain and fuck off.
Sure.
Oh,
Well-
I mean, we're doing that, aren't we?
I believe so. Yes.
As you
I
make your
shall
way past them-
loudly stage speak to Gru. Say, right, shall we retire to the ship?
I think so. Wonder if any of these guys wants a drink. I'll offer them some brandy.
maybe
as we
you
walk
should offer
past
them.
So you make it very
let's see.
clear and obvious that you're making your way towards the ship.
Yes. Is a 15 in performance good?
Yeah, I'd say that's they let you go past without any kind of hassle. One of them even speaks up to say, "No thanks, but thank you."
Your loss. It's good booze. I mean, it does make people trip out and occasionally sort of start hallucinating and freaking out in the street. But I mean, that's good booze, isn't it?
Yeah, but Bruce, let's be fair. I can understand why they wouldn't want it. I mean, our good friend, the cleric. I mean, that bruise of yours can make people forget things they've known for years. Like they'll wake up, a day after and swear that stuff that they've known their entire life had never happened.
What would you like me to roll?
Persuasion check.
Another persuasion.
You. I was about to say you'd have advantage on this, but never mind.
Might I make a roll to see if the things I said help him at all?
Well, the specific reason for this persuasion check was to figure out if the person who said no thanks to the booze would change his mind after Trig explained how it's fucking wacky stuff that makes you forget half your life. But apparently, it doesn't sound too appealing to the poor man right now.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I suppose we've created a legend here of the alcohol forgetfulness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a legend is a good word for it.
Can I, as we pass them, if I see them take their eyes off me for a second, can I try and slip into the shadows and disappear for a second? On a stealth roll of 11. No, it's alright, don't worry. I've got a
trying
fucking
to distract them if you want the 14.
I fucking trash today, Trig.
I know, I've got a fucking 9 in stealth and I get 11.
Hey, Trig, are you trying to stealth in front or behind a torch?
Behind. That's where I'm doing it wrong. Yeah.
There's the problem.
Hey, Trig, try this. Walk behind me since I'm like double your height. And then try stealth.
You know what? I will do exactly that there. How's that?
You know what? Let's roll with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the pair of you are walking away from the people in the low light of the night, Bruce, you know that these people are keeping a close eye on you and your barrel-chested friend, and decide, The pair of you exchange a glance. The pair of you know exactly what's happening. Bruce, you jump up onto Garrow and then grasp onto him by his shoulders, tucking yourself up as small as you can to the point where your entire body is smaller than just Bruce's chest. As far as anybody behind Bruce is concerned, you just walked in front of your friend and then fucking vanished.
Alright, so when I walk to some rafters that are equidistant from two light posts, I'm just going to kind of stop for a moment and stretch so that Groot can basically climb up my arm to the second floor.
I'll have to
do
go
whatever sneaky thing he wants.
What was that, Theo?
Okay.
I'll have to mute myself from now.
Alright.
Alright, dude. So, do I need to do a roll for that, like a performance or an athletics or what? Or can we just say he can scramble up my arm to the upper level of the building?
I'd say roll performance, but it's the DC's super low on it.
Oh!
Wow.
Nice.
I mean, it's my best performance yet, and I didn't even need it.
Mm-hmm.
Which building are you specifically having Bruce clamber up on top of?
I mean,
the row of houses that makes up the seafront?
So, from where we were, I assume there's like lanterns every like, I don't know, couple, 100 feet or so, right?
There are, but most of them are unlit right now.
So basically, the first dark patch, as we were walking away from these two, I just stop and stretch there. I don't really mind what the building is, as long as it's got something on the second story for Bruce to grab.
Right.
Okay.
Well, most of the buildings are only a single story tall. So going for going for that would likely result in Bruce climbing into the rafters of a house.
Yeah, so something that has like some overhanging beams for him to grab.
Easily done.
Fair enough. Let's do that then. Would you like an acrobatics check or something to see how?
No, that's
Okay.
I'd consider that to be something that Gruus is just capable of.
Fair enough.
From scrambling up many wizards' arms in his time.
Evidently. You know, I'm quite looking forward to running an alternate campaign of explaining exactly what Gruus has done in all of this time.
It's going to be a new legend, isn't it? What's the old saying? If you can't live in being famous, live in infamy.
Infamy. Everyone's got it infamy.
Yes, I wonder why.
So anyway, you've managed to climb your way up into the rafters of a short house. In here, you can see that it appears as though the house is occupied. You hear the distinct sound of soft snoring. Multiple sources. You're guessing at least one man, but there's definitely some other noise happening that is asynchronous to the man's snores. Unfortunately, due to the lack of dark vision on Gruus, you have no idea what's going on in here since it's practically pitch black and your eyes haven't adjusted enough yet.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to break into the house. I'm just trying to sort of climb along the roof, right?
You can climb along the roof if you want, but you'll have to get up to the central support for the sloped roof itself.
Okay. Let's go and do that then.
I will say that that will require an acrobatics check, but again, the DC is fairly low. Not a problem. You can get up onto the roof, and you're able to position yourself in such a way that you can Assassin's Creed your way along, lit by the moon. By the way, this is a surprisingly clear night. You can see just about all of the stars at the same time. Only an occasional wisp of cloud.
What happened to this place being always overcast from the volcano?
Basically, I forgot.
Fair enough. Disregard what I said then.
But it isn't always overcast. It's just overcast the majority of the time. It's the reason why I mention it being a clear night. It's an unusualness to it. In either case, Gruus, you yourself would be able to see that there is an amount of ash cover in the area. And you can see certain areas, you can see certain spots where there are natural sumps in roofs, where there's been a collection of volcanic ash, followed up by some rain, and it's basically caused this pseudo cement, which appears to. You can't tell if it damages the roofs or repairs them.
Little of both going on at the same time, kind of deal. Familiar. Although I don't think Gruus would be familiar, seeing as he has spent most of his time in and around Lavendale until his exploits began.
So, just so that you know, in order for Gruus to be able to get anywhere near the large ship, he's going to have to climb down off of the buildings.
Okay.
Since the ship is located about, let's say, 150 feet out into the water. And
Okay.
there is a wooden pier which links the stonework of the land up to a point where the ship can be boarded from.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to run across the rooftops as far as I can, in as stealthy a manner as I can. And when I've got as close as I can do, basically, scout out from where I am to see if others are any small sort of dinghies or something that we can use to row across to the main boat. Or
No.
oh, it's
The
on a
main
it's on a
boat
pontoon,
is
is
on a-
it? It's on a pier.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, we'll have a bit of a pier over there then.
Indeed. And roll me a perception check while I should do that.
A perception check. I'm always so good at perception checks. Bad that time.
That's a 23.
That is.
With this particular vantage point, looking out and the night sky having a nice bright moon to illuminate the surrounding area, two things strike you. First of all, this place is actually rather pretty. Far prettier than what it's implied by the nearby volcano, which, by the way, given that perception check you were able to spot, appears to still be erupting. You can definitely see the occasional flash of orange as a particularly angry lava bomb gets ejected from the central summit.
Ah, excellent. Mount Doom.
The next thing that strikes you is the fact that it appears as though there's some kind of active guard taking place on the boat that is currently moored. You can see sources of light that appear to be on at least some degree of patrol. You would guess that there are at least 2 individuals going by the number of light sources, but it's entirely possible that multiple individuals are sharing light sources.
Hmm.
The third thing that strikes you, and this is only attainable to you because you rolled so damn high, it appears as though there is somebody in the crow's nest, and that person isn't moving.
Hmm. I'm gonna fix eyes on the guy with the crow's nest and wave to him. See if he waves back.
Now, what's important to note here is that whilst, yes, you can see a person in the crow's nest, that's only because there is, a person leaning over the side and such. But you can't actually see his eyes.
Nope.
You can see the silhouette.
No, but you know,
But
when you can. There's a weird thing when you're looking at people that even a long way away. You can sometimes you get when someone's looking at you, kind of thing, and that's what I'm kind of trying to sort of play towards, whether or not I can pick something up.
You don't seem to get any kind of response at all.
Okay.
He's either dead or he's asleep on the job.
Wouldn't su- Right. In that case, can Garrow and Grace and everybody else see me? Are they far behind me, or are they just below me, etc.?
Well, as a matter of fact, unless Garrow has specifically pointed it out to the rest of the party, they have no idea where the fuck you are.
Excellent.
Unless someone else in the party else, I have no idea that they have no idea.
And as confirmed by those perception checks, nope, they don't know where you are.
Do I know where Grigori is?
Well, Grigori turned invisible earlier, and he's been otherwise mostly keeping out of sight. So unless Grigori now types in that he reveals himself, no, as far as you are concerned, you have now lost 2 of your more stealthy friends.
Well, at least I've still got, I guess, Grace, CD, and Alistair are still with me, or am I alone?
CD is seemingly nowhere to be seen. You are going to guess that he has turned into some kind of aquatic animal and is currently fucking up the local wildlife. Alistair, you haven't
Communing with the
spotted him
rats.
since this. Probably. Alistair, you haven't spotted him from since you guys left the small chapel.
Oh.
I still got Grace, at least, I guess. Maybe.
And Grace is right there, and she could very well be on her horse if she wants to.
Of
Oh,
course.
come on, Grace. Let's go check out this boat.
Well, yeah, maybe we can buy the whole thing. Take it wherever we want.
Maybe. Yeah, let's go to boat.
As you guys
Alright,
make your way across the pontoon, I will jump down and appear by your side. And
Well,
I will also let you know of what I've observed on from the boat vantage point.
you could do so relatively easily. With the speed at which Groose can sprint, you're able to catch up to them in no time at all. They're at a casual walking pace. You at a mad sprint. You can cover the entire length of the pontoon in maybe 10 seconds.
I mean,
Jog over here.
my walking speed is 50, so yeah. So I can probably catch up fairly rapidly, unless of course Grace is actually, on full gallop on her horse, in which case she might be able to pace with me.
So, the first thing you'll note when you catch up to the other two, there doesn't appear to be a gangplank currently extended. The ship is, for all intents and purposes, closed.
Okay.
Well, that's awkward.
No, not really. You
Second
just
thing to
shout
note.
ahoy. They respond to these sorts
when
of
somebody
things.
Typically, when somebody approaches a ship, they tend to attract some level of attention on the actual vessel itself. You guys seem to have managed to unintentionally sneak up on this place.
I mean, we could just jump aboard and go ahoy. Or
Did you mention the crow's nest guy didn't appear to be moving?
did mention.
I wonder if perhaps someone has already commandeered this vessel. Normally, you get a bit more shouting when people approach a boat at night.
Possibility, I guess. I mean, there's only one way to find out. Let's jump aboard and see what we will find over there.
Has anybody called out to them, or
I have said ahoy, I think, or tried to say ahoy
right.
several times.
Okay, well, I wasn't quite sure whether or not you'd actually said ahoy or were just simply suggesting it. But if you have, by the time you guys have progressed through the conversation enough to the point of wanting to jump aboard without permission, somebody has already peered over the side and is apparently waiting for you guys to finish talking.
Oh look, there's somebody there. All right, mate. How's it going?
The man gives a wave. You can't really spot any features on him due to the silhouetting effect of the night sky, but he calls down. Oh, hey, what's happening here?
Permission to come aboard, sir?
Gonna have to give a reason.
I don't know. Were we thinking of renting some? Where are you headed? Where are you guys headed? We're looking for a route out of where we are at the moment. This place is dull. I think
grey.
Yeah, I think we've done all we need to do. We have definitely conquered as much as we can conquer here. We are looking for new grounds to to plunder. He says with a cheeky grin, "I also have brandy."
He scratches his head and calls down. Could you come back tomorrow?
Well, we're kind of short of a place to sleep, to be honest. And it suddenly got late very sudden because we were in the pub for a long time, and I don't know. We thought your we didn't know if you were setting off early, so we thought we'd have a wander down here.
Yeah. You could tell, even though you can't actually see his face, you could tell that there is a look of concern on his face. He calls down after a moment and says, "I'll have to wake up the quartermaster. Wait there."
That sounds like an inn, doesn't it?
That sounds better than what we were getting before. With that lot up there, we're all like sort of go now and never darken our doorstep again. So this is definitely an improvement. Yeah.
What do they say? Any port in a storm, am I right?
Well, exactly.
You know, it's quite remarkable what you can do when you don't piss off the people that you intend to stay with.
I mean, yeah.
What are you implying, Ginger?
Look, I just knocked on a door.
We
All
haven't
I'm implying
anyway.
is that past experience has told me that for this particular D&D party, the closest thing you guys are going to get to friends is people who don't know you yet.
Excuse me, I think Scrack holds us in quite high regard.
I believe he
we got him to fart on the battlefield.
He also cracked a bit of a smile when I killed that goblin in that way that has become legendary somewhat.
It's Goose's legendary action.
Legendary action. The goblin shit fountain.
Well, after what seems like an awfully long wait, you see another silhouette pop over the side, a different looking silhouette, something that looks a little more elven in shape, and a rather feminine sounding voice calls over the side, presumably a woman.
Wait, is that Grigori?
He's invisible. You wouldn't see his silhouette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know where Grigori's gone. I don't know. He didn't tell us he was going invisible.
True. But in either case, she calls over the side. Why are you wanting to get aboard this ship?
Well, we're looking for a ship to get away from where we are at the moment. Seems like.
You got any idea where this thing's going?
Anywhere is better than here. Where are you going?
I mean, that's what we asked your friend.
Yeah. What he said.
I mean, presumably any ship will go anywhere for the right price, right?
We're going to Ulrichberg.
Ulrichberg. I know that now.
Isn't that where we will take the hobbits?
Ulrichberg? Isn't that that's a long way away? So you're going all the way past Port Manly and Varpak and all of that way, all the way up to see the orcs.
Oh, we're gonna be taking a few stops, but I suppose right, there's a few. She looks like she is, well, just woken up. And you can definitely hear the confusion in her voice. But ultimately, she tells you that they're going to be making a variety of stops along the way, starting at one of the port villages over in Dor and Maya before moving on to a couple of other spots. Verdenfeld and Port Manly are along the route.
I call out to her and ask, would you be willing to make a stop at the river mouth just across the bay? We can pay.
No, that's... When you say that, she stops mid-sentence. How much?
I'm going to look at Grace and Bruce and just... What would you say is a fair price, guys?
I had no idea. I've got a couple of 100 gold coins, and that's about it. I'm broke. I'm not broke, you know.
Who's chartering you at the moment?
We're currently supplying a shipment of firestones.
And how much are they paying you for that?
There's a moment of silence before she calls down. More than is worth breaking confidentiality.
Are you sure about that?
How much are you offering?
How much to buy the ship?
She is... There is an audible silence in after this that can best be described as indignant. After which you hear, "More than you can afford, lady."
How much do you have on you, Kiki?
I currently have on me
Do bear in mind,
14,000 gold.
all of your gold is currently bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
All of your gold is currently in the bag of holding. You're not carrying all of these 14,000 gold pieces around in individual sacks.
Who has a bag of holding? Sorry, I might have missed that.
I believe CD does.
Does he?
Well, if he doesn't, he does now.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. He does now. Great.
Really?
Yeah.
I was pretty sure I've been managing all of that.
Hmm.
No, in that case, you have the bag of holding. Every party needs a bag of holding, at least one. Without a bag of holding,
No, we didn't have.
Shit.
The party had no bag of holding. Yeah, we got a bag of refrigeration that we had to hand back.
Well, that's not very good.
We have a flask of holding.
We do have a flask of holding.
Does that require you to put liquid in it, or can you put anything that fits in it?
It is liquid. It is specifically alcohol, really.
Liquid gold?
All right, so you'd have to have melted your gold to put it in the flask.
Essentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you've
All
got
right,
a pocket plane with a minting facility, it's not very practical to do that.
I'm going to say, roll a dice, a d4, to decide which of the party randomly finds a bag of holding that doesn't have anybody's name on it right at their feet at this moment. All right. So that would be Grace.
Oh, that solves that. I just looked it up, Kiki. It looks like a galleon goes for 50,000 gold in D&D. So we might be a little short on buying the boat.
Certainly got enough to rent it, though.
You certainly have enough to to make some rather interesting propositions, but as implied by the statement of the quartermaster, buying the boat is more than you can afford.
Okay, so we might not have enough to actually buy the boat, but we could definitely rent it for a bit. or at least book passage on your boat. Definitely make it worth your while. I mean, I could definitely make it worth your while, darling, anyway. But,
puts up a very poignant finger of shut the fuck up for a moment and disappears from view for a second, before which you see a gangplank slowly being pushed out from the side, which then rather loudly and obnoxiously bonks down onto the pier, allowing you all to board.
Yeah, I guess she's into drunk monks.
let's definitely move aboard.
I just had a blood
Yes.
blister in my mouth.
Yeah. Is this elven woman in any way, shape, or form attractive?
This is a human. Upon boarding the boat and getting a better look at her,
Oh.
she is shapely, she is busty, and you can tell that she is quartermaster for more reasons than just presumably being capable of reading a book and pushing numbers around.
Fair enough. Yes. Well, you see, my friends and I, we would probably be able to help. Certainly book a room, and if there isn't any space, I'd be willing to share a bunk with you. Grins.
Thanks for the offer, but I have about 15 other people who are ahead of the queue compared to you. So, how about you mentioned wanting to go up the river? You're a lot of wanting to go to the head markets?
Yeah, we were planning on that, and then we were planning on getting out of this godforsaken ash hole of a world, and going somewhere a bit more interesting.
Somewhere where the grass is greener.
Let me explain a few things to you. So, first of all, we're on a schedule.
Sure.
We ship out first thing tomorrow morning, and then we've got to get to Ulrigberg in about a month or so. We can give or take a few days, but if we go over, we lose money for each day we go over. So you've got to make it worth our while to lose out on that cash. I would say
have a
that's
question.
Go on.
Can I use my Shield of the Storm abilities to ensure favourable wind in their sails?
Oh, wind. Also, that's a hell of a long way for a month.
No.
If I just stand behind the sail, won't that just propel the boat forward if I put my shield on?
No,
it wouldn't.
it's not how it works.
That'd be like plugging a fan. That'd be like plugging an electric fan and bolting it to the boat and then having the fan blow into the boat's sails. It's not going to do anything.
I assume it's mute because you probably haven't got one, but how do immovable rods work in this world? Are they immovable to relevant to where the world is? Can you break physics with them?
You can absolutely break physics with an immovable rod up until you go over its weight capacity, at which point it suddenly becomes a very movable rod.
Let's say, I suppose even if you did strap your attach it to your boat, it only works if the world is turning in the direction that you want to go.
Actually,
Or if you're patient enough.
You did make a very good point there. That is awfully quick from.
That's a long way to Ulrigberg. That is the other side of the continent.
Pretend I said 4 months.
So we're only talking about a day or so out of the way. I mean, we'll be happy to contribute towards our upkeep and so on.
We're not even asking you to go up the river. You drop us at the river mouth. I'm sure we can find a what they call them.
All right. Before
this
conversation goes any further, I got a quick question for you. Where are you staying in the town tonight?
We're not at the moment. We're kind of we were in the pub, and then
Why did I have a feeling that you were going to say that?
we were in the pub, and we kind of got a bit drunk, and then all of a sudden it was like nearly midnight, and yeah.
You got camping gear on you?
Oh yeah. Always.
All right then. Give me 20 gold now, and I'll give you permission to camp on the boats, to camp on the top deck. You'll be under guard. Sound good?
I think that sounds fair. Do you think that sounds fair?
How much for a cabin?
That's not on the option. We don't know you. We're not letting you into anything valuable. You need a place to stay. That's where you'll be staying. If you got camping gear, you can set that up. Perfectly fine. We don't mind that at all. Or at least I don't. I'm sure Jerry over there will get annoyed. And the man that she points to, yeah, you get the impression that he's already quite annoyed at all of this.
I'm going to whisper to her, by the way, your guy in the crow's nest, I think he's asleep.
The moment you say that, the moment you say crow's nest, she already begins rolling her eyes and showing a look of, for fuck's sake, again? And, you see, she walks over to the mast that you see as being connected to the crow's nest. And you see she just grabs a rope. She points at you, Garrow, and she says,
Me?
5 gold. 5 gold if you 5 gold off the night's stay if you help me with this.
Sure. What do you need me to do?
I'm going to need you to pull on this rope as hard as you can after I release it, so that the unfurled sails get pulled back up into their stored positions again. You look like a big guy. You should be able to do it.
Sure. By all means. Doesn't sound too hard.
You see as she nods in your direction, she then takes a relatively small rope, gives it one hell of a yank, and all of a sudden, the sails, this main large sail, completely unfurls via the force of gravity, immediately catches a breeze, and you all feel the ship lurch forward by a good couple feet. This is immediately followed by the most hilariously girlish screaming you have ever heard, coming from the crow's nest. And then
I know you want me to say it, but I'm not gonna.
She then nods in your direction, Gara, and says, "Go on, get pulling."
Yeah, no, raise an eyebrow and grab the rope and brace myself and start pulling it back up. Athletics, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that'll be an athletics check. You can choose to rage to give yourself advantage if you wish. Very odd use of rage.
Sure, it'll be fine. Here comes double natural 1.
I mean, you're
24 is good enough.
So you weren't about to rest anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have that recharges after a rest, doesn't it? There's uses of that.
True,
if he'd used it,
uncouth to start, getting a bit angry in front of a woman you've just met.
It would also only temporarily summon a giant storm.
Oh, that might not be ideal then. I didn't realise his rage did that.
Aha.
I'm pretty sure that part is optional. The lightning bolts aren't.
The storm, that happens. The lightning bolts are part of the storm.
And say, the quartermaster seems to want to give that guy a rude awakening. He happens to be on the tallest thing in the area, probably, if the storm's localized to your position. So maybe not a good idea.
Well,
I mean,
the guy
would end up basically hitting him with 5 lightning bolts.
Basically, what's just happened here is a man has been sleeping quite peacefully, and then what he presumes to be his bed has just suddenly thrown him forwards and possibly, had he not successfully saved on his acrobatics check, fallen out of the crow's nest. But in either case,
wouldn't it?
oh, it would be terribly unfortunate for him. But it probably would have meant that you guys would have been able to get a position in the ship. In either case, as all of this progresses further, Garrow, over the course of the next couple of minutes, it requires a whole lot of effort to go through the process of pulling on the necessary block and tackles to get this sail completely unfurled, during which you can tell that there's a fair bit of bustling wind, and a couple of people come up from the lower decks to complain, and Quartermaster just simply explains that the little ship was sleeping on the job again, and so on and so forth. All in all, though, laughs are had, and you guys have secured yourself a night's rest, free from the wrath of the local townspeople. If there's anything else that you guys would like to do in the meantime, please state so now, or else we're going to be skipping straight through to the morning, at which point you guys can negotiate with the captain of the ship as to potential rerouting.
The only thing Garo's going to do is his usual meditation routine. Got to get his spells back and all.
Fair enough.
By the way, once everybody looked up to see the man in the crow's nest have a heart attack, by the time your attention had been drawn back to the people on the deck, there would have been the added addition of a Grigori, and probably somewhere in the next couple of minutes or so, you'll see Alistair just slowly make his way up the gangplank and just look around and say, "Is this where we are staying?"
Yeah, for now.
I guess so. I mean, good show getting on the boat without drawing any attention, both of you. It's quite impressive. Or maybe their gods are just a bit tired from being woken up so suddenly.
Well, Alistair just looks at the rest, then looks at you, Garrow, and then looks at the rest of the party as he says, "I figure if I hang back that you will all do most of the troublemaking without needing to involve me."
Well, yes, quite. He looks a bit sheepish about the whole chapel thing.
Don't worry about all of that back there, by the way. I'm sure whatever damage has been done easily repaired. I once did something quite similar as a child.
Damage?
Oh no, here we go.
He just looks at you for a moment, Grace. Doesn't nod, doesn't say anything else, just stares in your direction for a moment. So, all that being said, couple of things happen. Grigori, would you like me to explain what is going on, or would you like to type it out for yourself? Okay. As you were all sleeping there, staying the night in your various sleeping bags, tents, etc., etc., Grace, you are awoken to see a familiar-looking elf having made his way over to your sleeping position, now describe to me, how exactly does Grace camp? Does she sleep in a tent, or does she just have a bedroll that she exposes to the elements?
Grace will be sleeping in a tent with the horse keeping watch outside.
Right, okay. And would the horse have any particular aversion to allowing Grigori entry into the tent?
I would probably make some noise to indicate that that someone's entering the tent who's not announcing themselves.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Well, in either case, in that case, you would... well, your horse has a telepathic link to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In that case, you would be awoken by the horse informing you that Grigori is entering your tent.
I'll draw my blade, look up. Do I see the Grigori?
Yeah, you see as you turn your head and open your bleary eyes, you see a familiar, friendly elf crawling his way into the tent.
This isn't going to be as pleasant as it was with Jenny.
I think I'll let Grigori explain from here.
That's to borrow your Bible.
That does sound like a euphemism, doesn't it?
You not have a Bible yourself? We all got given one.
For those listening, Theo is unfortunate to have to live under the tyranny of a mother, and
yes.
as such, has to type
He
it.
might have lost it during the breast incident because it was given to him by Justin on the way to Brest, and if you remember, both Theo and CD were vaporized in Brest and brought back to life by Jenny. Jenny Taylor was probably not likely to be handing out Bibles.
I would gladly lend you my Bible, but considering you've tried to sneak into my tent and take it without my notice, I get the opinion you might be up to nefarious deeds with it.
Also, does he speak and read Celestial?
I don't think Grigori does.
Not that I am part of this at the moment. I will stop interjecting.
Then why did you not announce yourself? We can sit and read it together if that's what you're interested in.
To be fair, I'm just explaining this because obviously Theo has to type, and that's a little time-consuming. It's safe to assume that if Grigori was actually trying to sneak in, he probably would have used his ring of invisibility.
Can you read it? Then sit down and show me. I'd love to hear your insights on what the good book has to say.
Well, Theo, go ahead and tell us if Grigori can in fact read Celestial. Right. Apparently he cannot. Well, I'll let the two of you play it out from here then. Okay?
I'm gonna sit down with him. I'm gonna sit down. I'm going to offer him to come sit next to me and show me his insights on this book.
By the way, Grace, do you still have your sword?
I'll put my sword down, but I'll keep it close by.
Fair enough.
Well, you've got your offer. You sit and you read it with me, or you try and put yours back together.
I guess that's going to be I'm going to guess that this is somewhat of an impasse here.
I don't see why he won't read the book with me. If his intentions are pure.
Well, Grigori clearly wants to read in solitude. After all, he is a mopey elf. And you don't want to let him borrow your book.
Not when he's broken his own.
I mean, technically, it is no longer in existence due to the fact that it was consumed in an almighty fireball, the size of which have not been seen since many centuries after the point at which that explosion took place.
Yes, it is sort of yes.
But yeah.
Rest got a taste of the 1940s, 500 years before it happened.
I would say, given the circumstances... Did you guys hear that laugh? I guess not. I suppose,
something.
given the circumstances, the I would say it might be fair for Grigori and Grace to make opposing persuasion rolls, or perhaps deception, if any of that's happening here.
I'm not letting that book out to someone else, especially someone who's sneaking in for it rather than asking up front, until I've got some copies made.
Isn't it a shame there isn't another one of these books in the party?
You do have a copy, don't you?
Yes, I do.
But this one was given to me by Mars.
Yeah.
Yes, but mine has actually been used to smite demons.
It's not the same.
Yours is holy in theory, mine is holy in practice.
Yes, his actively has been perforated.
But if I remember rightly, Justin was somewhat horrified to see you doing that.
Yes, he was. I did stop afterwards, but I think my argument was still sound. Like, what better way to smite demons than with the holy word? And in defense, the Bible did survive the ordeal relatively intact. It's got
Yeah.
a bit of demon blood on the cover, but that's about it.
I mean, sure. I think it's funny. Well, actually, no. Grace can read it. Can Gara read it?
And I think you made an implication at one point there that everyone can get some sort of meaning out of these Bibles, but I think only Grace can actually properly get the true meaning.
Yeah, Grace can read it even though she can't speak Celestial. Sort of translates itself for her.
Yeah.
After her incident. Bruce, however, can read it. Bruce could actually read it as if he was reading, any other book.
That's true, isn't it?
He does actually speak Celestial. He's so bummed out that he's been waiting for that moment for a long time.
Wow.
No.
So
Maybe
we try to
when
seduce
we get
them?
a chance to
No,
properly share the stories,
no,
I'll lend you the book.
he has a few things he'd like to ask them.
Oh, I get it.
Like, how do you get that job? How does one become
How
a
about the
god?
question? If you're so wise and powerful, explain the platypus.
No one can explain the plot.
Exactly.
See, this is why I'm really looking forward to Theo being able to have a few sessions without his mother around to tell him to shut the fuck up.
Oh no, Bruce missed a lot. Bruce would have been. It would have been interesting. Bruce's aims and goals are not dissimilar from Rasputin's aims and goals with regards to the whole speaking to the angels, gods.
So is that it? Is he gone?
I don't know. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee though, so I can't see the screen for a second.
Hmm. Theo, if you are responding, as you say, you have in the Yesrallaw Odyssey. Ah, fair enough. I guess Grigori turns around and just abandons the idea of attempting to attempting to read the Bible. Yeah, for some reason, that only just came through for me there, Theo. Like, literally about 5 seconds before you posted the screenshots into Discord.
Which channels he say he's typing in?
In the Roll20.
There's a chat room attached to this as well.
I guess you can't see that. Someone would have to stream it for you.
Oh, fair enough. I was just typing
That is-
messages in game chat, but I guess.
There's a stream up on Trigger Hippie's channel.
That's true. That would work.
Yes.
Ah, good old YouTube. Once again, not giving you notifications.
Yes. If you scroll up.
Wait, actually, I might not be subscribed to Trig. I think. What's Trig?
You probably aren't. There's only about 5 subscribers to my channel.
Is it just Trigger Happy or is it a different name?
Hold on a second. I'll give me 2 minutes to get back up to my computer, and I'll post you a link.
Oh, no worries.
Unless somebody else has a link to it.
Theo has already linked you to it.
Cheers, Theo.
Well done, dude.
Wait, he can't hear me because he's not in the chat. No, I am subscribed.
Alright.
And you have 187, not 5.
They're all bots, I'm sure.
All the bots were on Twitter, not YouTube.
Of course, it's that gay thing. You got to ring the bloody bell these days to get notifications, aren't you? So how long have we got before YouTube?
Oh yeah, and you've got to make sure it's all notifications, not just personalized, which basically means get fucked. You're not having any. Fucking.
All right, so if that has come to a close, the potential altercation between who muted Ziphos?
I think he was muted when he joined.
No, he was talking a little while ago, but I guess Theo didn't want him interfering with recorded stream. Fair enough. Well, when it comes to all of this, there is actually one other thing that happened during the night.
Oh yeah.
Ziphos, I'll take the server mute off you, but mute yourself afterwards. There you go. Well, that's the problem, Ziphos. He literally couldn't have asked you to shut the fuck up because he can't speak right now. I could have, though. So, as the night goes on, the boat rocks from side to side in a interesting manner. I'd like you all to give me Constitution saving throws. Just, in case somebody rolls particularly low and accidentally gets to meet their late dinner again. I'm going to roll one for Alistair since he's also sleeping on the boat. Yep.
Do you think Gao's ever really slept on a boat before?
I think he would have a couple of times. But it's likely something that he hasn't done for a while.
I'm just going to choose to have him fail.
Fair enough. So at some point in the night, you would all, a few of you would probably, apparently the same thing happens with Bruce.
Some reason.
In Bruce's case, it's because he didn't have enough drink, not because he had too much. He gave too much to the priest.
Yeah, it's not vomit induced by the seasickness. It's just you're having nightmares about all that wasted booze.
Yeah, basically.
All that top tier brandy wasted and poured out onto the street. By the way, you should definitely take at least a pint off.
I already have that. Oh, well, let's take a pint and a half.
Hmm. So, with only a couple of instances of people jumping up and running to the side of the boat to empty themselves, you all get through to the next morning, and you're all woken up rather early, before the sun's even come up, in fact, by a rather old, grizzled-looking man.
What does he look like?
Who would be the first to wake during all of this?
I would imagine Grigori would, because he doesn't sleep.
Well, that's true. So he's there by default, but since Theo can't talk, somebody else is going to have to be awake too.
Okay, so let's just roll initiative just for, fitting it.
Sure, that's a good idea. Each of you roll initiative. Want me to roll for you there, Kiki? Oh no, there it is.
Okay, so I'm awake first.
So apparently Grace is having a lion.
Mm-hmm.
And Bruce, you are the first to be awoken by the captain of the ship, having gotten up for the purposes of shepherding his crew around preparation for getting the ship into ship shape. The man is... He looks like he might be in his maybe 50s, late 50s. You can tell he's got plenty of years on him, and he is a... well, you can't quite tell if he's a human or an elf, to be honest. He kind of has a bit of a slenderness to him that you would associate with the elves, but he's far too hairy for that.
Does he have pointy ears?
Kind of. They look like they almost look like they kind of have they've like somebody's pinched them slightly for too long and they've never really gone back again. But in either case, as you're the first person to crawl out of the tent, you immediately have a strong hand thrust in front of you, and a strong voice says, "Let me help you on your feet there."
I'll take his hand and shake it heartily. Thank you. Bruce, pleased to meet you, sir.
Aye, call me Morrigan.
Morrigan. Morrigan it is. Is this your boat, sir?
Yeah, it's my vessel, all right. Not the grandest one that I've ever had, but I'm reaching retirement, and you know how it goes. So I hear you wanted to make a trip.
Yes, well, you know, I came over here to see if I could find an artifact that would help bring my friends back from wherever they went. It worked somehow. Bit of a surprise, to be perfectly honest. And then after looking around and decided that this was actually a pretty much godforsaken hellhole of a place, I think we'd like to find our way somewhere else. Perhaps stop at the market and pick up some supplies on the way. But yeah, and I hear you're travelling to the other side of the continent.
Aye, that's right. We're making our way over to, from one godforsaken hellhole to another, really.
Yes,
at least
orcs.
This one's green.
Orcs. Never really, never really liked the orcs much. But that said, not really met many of them, I must admit. But yeah, no, we would like to, if we could, book some passage to somewhere. We are merely, just adventurers going around and seeing what we can find, and generally make a buck or two, have a bit of an adventure, bit of a laugh, drink some fine wine and brandy and so on. Is it too early for you?
He nods his head as you're going along, and when you ask if it's too early for him, he almost looks offended that you would suggest such a thing, and says, "What? The booze? Ah." You see, he pulls out a hip flask and expects you to do the same.
I offering him my flask. Sorry, you can't see the hand gesture as I was doing that, but yes, I will gesture my flask to him. I was like, "Have a good old swig."
Okay. He hands you his hip flask as well, and you notice that it's very nice. This thing is it looks like it's made out of stainless steel or maybe even silver, and it's been polished to a degree that you wouldn't think even possible.
It's a nice flask.
Probably from all of the use that it gets.
Take a swig. What is in this flask of lethalness?
It appears to be a very rich cognac of some. It has you can definitely tell that it has a strong, hearty flavour from whatever wine it's been produced from, but it's still it still has a decent amount of the sweetness undertones that you'd expect from such a thing. It's almost refreshing and yet warming at the same time. You can see why a man who spends most of his life on the sea would have such a thing.
I will raise an eyebrow and nod in agreement. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Sit back, whilst offering him a shot of my flask, of course.
He happily takes it, and he He takes a swig and then takes a look at it, shakes it around, smiles at you, and then goes for another much larger swig. And then after you suspect that he's had a fair amount, he hands it back to you and says, "Thank you very much, thank you very much." And gives it back and says, "That was good. A very, very good morning. I'm in a much better mood now." So, Nancy told me that you're looking to hope for the boat to be diverted northwards to the the head markets. Am I right?
Yes. We told we could pick up some ingredients to maybe make some interesting booze and other things there.
Right. So basically, you're wanting to have a shopping trip.
A bit. See if there's anything there. If not, get on our way, essentially.
All right. Well, let me just level with you. It's gonna be. Oh, you've been very generous with your booze, so let's call it 350 gold pieces. That'll cover the necessary losses we make in having to delay. And if it turns out that we have favorable winds to our sails the whole way and we don't end up being late, well then, hey, who knows? We'll I'll find a way to get a hold of you and send you your money back. How about that?
Sounds good. Sounds good. That's excellent. Yes. I'll have to kick some of my compatriots as they're the ones with all the gold, it seems. At the moment,
step back and says, "Kick away, good sir."
I will indeed do that and deliver a swift tap to each tent or bedroll that I can find. Would you like me to roll an attack roll? Or actually, I might even poke one or two with Francois.
Well, to be honest, you could just simply have Francois just,
insult them in their head.
Each of them. Yeah.
You know what? I like that. Yes.
That's a hell of an alarm clock, if you ask me.
Yes. Hey, Francois, wake that pesky elf up in his own, in French, whatever you call it. That, elvish thing. Give him a shout.
So, say, since you're...
Tell him his ears are small and his, the ladies laugh at him behind his back.
Under normal circumstances, I would say, since you're not expecting it, your save has disadvantage, but technically Grigori would be awake to receive this, so go ahead and give us that saving throw there, Grigori. I believe it's a wisdom saving throw.
It is a vicious mockery, isn't it? That he's doing?
Yes, that's the one.
Not have on my built it into part of the.
Well, vicious mockery is actually a part of the player's handbook, so you should be able to just drag it over.
I am doing that just as we. You know what? Boink. Have some of that. Why is it DC not? It shouldn't be DC not. It should be DC 14 or something. Hold on a second.
Just pretend. Tell me what the value is, and we'll just pretend that it's that.
Oh god, I've written it down here. There we go. Wisdom. It'll be It'll be a DC. I think it's a DC 14. DC 14. It says DC 12 here. Go with that for the time being. I made it. Can you remember what it was as?
I think it was 18, wasn't it? Here, I
It
can
was
correct.
based on his wisdom, and you gave him like a wisdom of 18.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he was a very wise and cunning, so it'll be.
I think it was 16. Here, I'll set it to flat 16.
There we go. Yeah, so you got to beat a wisdom of 60. You rolled a 10. Ah.
That's not a save. So, Theo, you fail your saving throw and get some horrible French insult spewed at you from a stick.
Something along the lines of, "You have the pointy ears of a woman, and only the men find you attractive in your silly, strange, elven friend people." Also,
Well-
your hairstyle is ridiculous, even for a Frenchman.
Well, I must say that is appropriately shit, given that it only did 1 damage.
Yes. The French think you are Spanish.
Dude, it only did 1 damage. I need to be so scathing.
But once I get into my role, dude.
God damn. Poor Theo. We called a Spaniard. Ooh. I believe that's what they call in street lingo a clap back. Have you seen what he said there?
He's like, if you think you can handle it, if you can handle this much wood, then big man, come and try it.
In any case. Well, what are you laughing at now?
I'm laughing at the fact that he's typing.
That's fair.
Grease is there going, wake up, dude. Yeah, with the captain is here. Captain on deck and all that. Come on. Clap, clap. Wake up. And proceeds to insult everybody else around him.
Alright, wisdom saves from everybody else.
Yep.
I'm going to assume, given my
Okay.
initiative, I might have already started getting up.
Possibly, yeah. Let's see what Alistair's initiative is. No, Alistair definitely gets a
Yep.
Oh well, doesn't matter. You know, I don't care.
Yep.
I know Francois and his ways. He don't affect me that easily.
Apparently,
You got to get really early in the morning to get one over on me, Francois.
I'm presuming that while Francois is able to wake me, I am in no means offended, and his joke majorly misses the mark.
pretty much, yes.
Alright, in that case, Alistair needs to make a wisdom saving throw. Which
He fails.
he fails.
Um,
What does Francois hit Alistair with?
it is that's scathing.
That's oh Christ.
That he has hit you to your very core. He has called you a scheming little Frenchman. How dare you sleep when the captain is talking to you? Come on. Your parents were illegitimate, and they are both French and German. They are hiding in England just to hide their shame of you.
Alistair, who has been sleeping in a bedroll and is not in a tent, simply opens his eyes, looks up at Francois and Bruce, and just simply says, "An unmade fire should not be speaking."
Ah, another one that thinks he is big enough to take me on. Come on then, big man. I'll have you know I could be a mast for this ship if I want to. Hey, look at me, watch this. And he just fucking just grows on the spot. So it's actually difficult for Groose to hold it up. And then he shrinks back down and goes, ah, yes, you think you can take this? Mm-hmm.
Allow me
He's got
to
you there.
correct myself. An unmade bonfire should not be speaking.
Ah, I like this one. He thinks he has a sense of humor. I may mock him some more in the future.
But Alistair is up and about and gives the mountain that is still perpetually on fire a mournful look. You get the impression that he's going to miss the place. So, after that little display of ridiculousness, you could see that Captain Morrigan is looking at the party with a look of, right, okay, so this is what I'm in for. And he turns to you, Goose, and says, right, well, we'll be heading off somewhat. He takes a look over at the horizon. Once the sun's finished coming up, that's when we'll set sail. So I'd say you got about half an hour. Get the money to me by then, or I'm kicking you off by boat.
Sounds good. Right, you lot. We owe him some money.
He gives you a big mustachioed smile. By the way, he has a very clearly well maintained, long and curly mustache.
It was Captain Morrigan, was it?
Uh-huh.
Morrigan.
That's the one.
Okay.
And he has quite the smile to him as he walks off and seemingly just goes to mill about and look at various people getting things ready for setting sail. So, given that it is currently 11:30, what I'm thinking that we do is cover anything that you guys want to do whilst you are on the ship, cover anything that you guys might want to do in the last half hour of you being at Craggle Rock, and then pick up the next session actually in the Tiefling markets, as there's going to be several days worth of journey that will be relatively uneventful, mostly consisting of just the party being passengers on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe Quartermaster Nancy will be able to get to the hanky-panky with a few members of the party, but other than that, I imagine it's going to be somewhat uneventful.
Considering she's got 15 people lining up to do it before me, and you know, the idea of coming in sloppy 15ths or 16ths is not that appealing. I'll be perfectly honest. Certainly not within a few days. I might need to slap Francois on my ass just so in case I fall in, and need a route back out.
Yep.
There's an image I didn't want to put in my head.
Thanks for that, Trig. It's Right. So I'd say that's an appropriate comment to end the stream on. Would everybody agree?
Seems like it.
Seems reasonable.
And there goes Theo, I guess. So yeah, I guess that's where we are ending it.
Okay, I will end the stream at that point. In that case, does if anybody else has a thing to say?
So long and thanks for all the fish.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night to our viewer. Ooh, we had 10 views. Cool.
Oh, that's more than usual.
Ish.